Major international athletics on a truly glorious outdoor stage is finally back at the start of this Olympic summer. How we've waited for this day. Welcome to the World Relays Silesia 2021. Well, this is a region that is proud of its tourism, but it's also a centre of industry and fiercely proud of its cultural history too. Fabulous countryside, lakes, rivers, mountains, all blend together to create a true gem right in the centre of Europe. We're in southern Poland, just outside Katowice, the capital of the Silesian region. And the sports facilities here, well, this is the real gem in the crown, I suppose, the Silesia Stadium, the Silesian Stadium. Over 2 days now, we're going to see fabulous relay action at the 5th edition of this World Athletics Relays meeting. And the athletes arriving over the last couple of hours, myself, Tim Hutchings, with you, and Jenny Meadows beside me now. And Jenny, the athletes are desperate for this to get underway after a difficult winter.
They are, but you can see how excited that they all are. They've actually got their opportunity. Here we can see the Botswanans. They've come to enjoy themselves here, not only trying to qualify for that Olympic Games, and of course, places up for grabs as well at the World Champs in Oregon next year. But yeah, they can't wait to get the action underway.
Well, of course, it's been such a difficult year with the pandemic dominating so much activity, all cultures, including sport, affected throughout the world. And there have been some nations who have been unable to travel, but the quality of the 31 nations that are here is still supreme. And of course, relay racing is quite a different art to individual racing, and many of the nations that are here are real specialists in getting that baton smoothly around the track from one athlete to the next. Well, let's take a look at the timetable on this first of the 2 days. As you can see, we get underway in just a few minutes' time with the women's 4x400 metres heats. 3 heats for them, as there are for each of those disciplines you can see with heats involved. There are 2 finals, that mixed 2x2 by 400 metres, only the 2nd edition of that particular discipline, and the mixed shuttle hurdles relay final brings the session to a close. That will be a real humdinger. It's fast and furious. Well, the athletes are heading out onto the track then, and led out, as you can see, by Belgium for his first of 3 heats. Switzerland behind them, then Spain, Italy in the blue, and Poland, the host nation. And my word, how well do they carry the baton again and again. Their lead-off runner is just 17 years old. They make sure they get plenty of experience early on. And this meeting is, to some degree, one that bloods athletes early, gives them great experience in big stadia, the real pressure, and all the procedures of coming into a championships like this is what they have to go through too, which is a great learning experience for so many of them. Plenty of experience here as well, though, Jenny, and this Polish squad is strong.
The Polish squad is always strong in every event, but particularly this women's 4x400 metres. The amount of titles and medals they've won over the last few years is absolutely incredible. Of course, they've already qualified for the Tokyo Olympics later in the summer, but I'm sure as hosts of this championship, they'll want to put on a great performance here.
One thing I must remind you, and I might do again a couple of times over the next 2 days, that these are not championships. There are no champions winning here. There are no defending champions, and there are no medals awarded. What you have is previous winners, and the winners 2 years ago in Yokohama were indeed Poland. A bit of a surprise that, ahead of the USA and Italy. But Belgium go in lane 3 here. They're not using the two inside lanes to give the athletes the gentler bends. But Belgium in 3, Switzerland in 4, Spain in 5, then Italy in 6, Poland on the outside in 7. There you can see Cynthia Bolingo, a very experienced Belgian lead-off athlete, 28 years old, European indoor silver medalist at 400 meters a couple of years ago. Has a best of 51.69 outdoors. She'll be passing over to Verwert, Kaukait and Laus. Lead-off athlete for Switzerland is Silke Lemmens, Gallego for Spain, Lucudo for Italy, Lisewicz for Poland on the outside in lane 7. Well, we had glorious weather here yesterday. It was about 17, 18 degrees and lovely sunshine over the city. But today has been grey and cloudy and spits of rain here and there since we got up this morning. But the stadium is a complete bowl. It really is a glorious arena, a capacity of 55,000 when it's full. It's obviously used for football as well. And it is, in fact, the national stadium, even though we're a couple of 100 kilometres and more from Warsaw. It's a 9-lane track, you may have noticed, just in case that is over a format that's needed. But in this first heat, 5 teams. The first 2 go through by right to tomorrow's final, with the next 2 fastest non-automatic qualifiers in effect going through as well. A lot to run for. Of course, many of these teams have got their places booked in Tokyo already by dint of finishing in the top 8, or making the final, I should say, at the World Championships 2 years ago in Doha. But this is a major opportunity for teams who didn't make that final in Qatar to grab a place. So teams in this one who have made the Olympic Games already: Belgium and Poland, unsurprisingly. Bolingo with the inside line from lane 3. We'll get a good view of her opponents on his first leg. So Poland's lead-off athlete then, out in lane 7, the outside lane effectively. As I said, just 17 years old. She ran the 3rd leg for their quartet that won the European indoor title just a few weeks ago here in Poland, in Torun, in the 4x400 meters. There is Rafaela Boaheng-Lucudo, bronze medalist back in 2019 at the European Indoor 4x4. Has a best of 52.38, although she has her on a relay split of just outside 51. Gallego of Spain, Sara Gallego, just 20 years old. All smiles, nervous. She's a good 400-meter hurdler, 56.9 400-meter hurdler. Hasn't run a great deal quicker for 400 on the flat. Silke Lemmens, 21-year-old lead-off athlete for Switzerland. 53.1 is her fastest ever time outdoors. That was last year. She is the Swiss indoor champion, though, this last indoor season. And Cynthia Bolingo, as we've seen already. Good athlete. 3 years ago, ran 51.69. We'll pass over to Verwert, Kaukait and Laus. And there is a distinct advantage in a lane event like this to having those outside you over the barriers. 400-meter hurdles, you're too focused on getting that stride pattern right and the barriers themselves to pay too much attention of what's going on around you. But in the flat races, well, of course, you can certainly gauge your effort by those around you. And if you're in lane 3, 4 in a race like this, that's just about the perfect draw to judge your effort according to your opponents. But you still want to get the optimum time out of your legs in a relay. Well, Poland's Lisewicz on the outside there to write a picture in the red shorts in lane 7, running blind in effect, but that doesn't matter. They are very, very competent carriers of the baton and one-lap races generally. And she's easing away here now. Certainly looks to me like Lisewicz of Poland's left of picture is building a lead, although going well is Switzerland's Lemmens. She has moved right up onto the shoulder of Gallego of Spain there. In 5 is Gallego. To the right of picture is Bolingo of Belgium. She's judged this well too, looking strong as the stagger unwinds in her favour. But certainly Lisowicz here at just 17. What a raw talent she is, building up a big lead for the Poles. Don't forget, of course, the stagger doesn't unwind until they get into the back straight, so there is a third bend to unwind just yet. But Poland certainly handing over in the lead, Jenny.
Yeah, that was a great lead leg for the Polish athlete, and Poland has started well, haven't they? And we can see Belgium there in lane 3 actually look like they're going to take the break in the lead, which is a little bit of a surprise, but maybe we shouldn't have expected too much because Bolingo is the European indoors silver medalist, but this is a Polish athlete who's really experienced here. She's actually got the lead now, and interesting to see the Polish are really mixing this relay team up. They've got abundance of riches reeling. They could almost put, 4 of maybe 10 athletes onto this leg, but yeah, stretching away now as we come to the end of the second leg.
Yes, Małgorzata Holub-Kowalik for Poland leading. She is the European champion and has a 4 or 5 metre lead, and it's stretching away from Belgium now. Remember, only 2 teams go through by right from this. In the moment, Poland and Belgium well clear of Italy in 3rd, and then Switzerland in 4th, and Spain bringing up the rear at the moment. Yes, 3rd leg athlete here for Belgium is Pauline Kaukait, and breathing down the neck of the Pole, Kinga Gajka. Gajka, lovely, smooth-looking athlete to the left of picture there, isn't she? But she has to gauge her effort. In relays, it's always so much nicer to be a metre behind somebody or on their shoulder with that baton in hand and be able to attack them. You've got a target, so to speak. Italy having a good run here through Nardelli on this 3rd leg. They come into the straight. There's been a fabulous leg from Belgium's Kaukait onto the shoulder of Gajka of Poland, now down the home straight and challenging the Poles, and the Italians still closing slightly.
Yeah, we didn't expect this, did we? This is going to be run all the way to the wire, and of course you've already mentioned it, Tim. Some of these women will be running for final spots as well. The final, of course, tomorrow, so they'll be trying to register as fast a time as possible. They'll want to make sure that they're in that strike for this time tomorrow.
Into the back straight, then still Poland in command. This is Natalia Kaczmarek with Belgium's Kamila Laus in 2nd place, focused on that white vest of the host nation. The gap back to Italy has grown a little. It's about 15 metres now to the Italian ankle leg runner Folorunzo. She's very experienced, Folorunzo, but I'm sure that is a gap that she won't be able to close. The time absolutely critical, so she must run hard in that blue strip of Italy. As down the home straight, Poland are again challenged by the Belgians. Laus here easing onto the shoulder of Kaczmarek. Is she going to get there? I don't think so. Kaczmarek stays strong, holds her form well, and takes the win by a metre there. 3:28.10 from Belgium. The hosts win with Italy in 3rd, and Switzerland there just out dipping Spain. I think they had their own private little battle quite a few metres back. But Belgium booked their place in the final, hence the smiles. Well, she might smile, because that from Kamila Laus was a superb final leg. She almost had the audacity there to catch Kaczmarek of Poland. The champions from 2 years ago, or the winners from 2 years ago, I should say, the Poles. One of the mascots there, one of the 4 mascots that represent Silesian Zoo, which is just adjacent to the stadium here. That is Magi, the cheetah. I'm sure we'll see the others in due course. You can see in the background there Linai, the giraffe.
But here we are, this is just the final stretch now, and Laus is really going for it, isn't it? You can see the concentration, the determination on her face. She was hoping to take the win, but automatic qualification for both teams there.
Here's the first changeover. Not quite as delicate a procedure, needing the precision as 4x100 metre relay running, but nonetheless, every centimetre counts. Here's the second changeover between Poland's Holub-Kowaluk and Gajka. Look at that roar from Holub-Kowaluk. Gajka coming in with Kaukait right up alongside her. That was a fabulous leg from Belgium's 3rd leg runner, Pauline Kaukait. That was an insurmountable lead for the Italian ankle leg runner, Iomide Folorunzo. But the Poles, well, they are majestic 400-metre runners. They never look overly strained when they're under pressure. They hold their form so well, Jenny.
Yeah, I'm sure she did feel under pressure. You know, there's a lot of pressure coming into this event. I think especially for the Polish women, you know, they want to obviously win on our home territory, but the Polish were incredible, but the Belgians, they really impressed me, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they'll shape up in the final tomorrow.
Well, let's confirm that result for your season's best, of course, for Poland with 3:28.11, only half a second or so ahead of Belgium, though. The Italians in third place. We'll have to wait and see if that 3:30.04 is good enough to get them through to tomorrow's final. So that's the first of 3 heats, and the athletes already coming out full of enthusiasm for the second of these 3 heats. France, Kenya, Cuba, the Netherlands will be next out. And the French, well, on their day, they are superb carriers of the baton. Their ankle leg runner is Floria Gay, 30 years old now. But do you remember, can you cast your mind back to the European Championships in Zurich in 2014, where Gay went from 5th to 1st in the 4x400 metres relay on the final leg, and she ran an astonishing 49.7 split to take gold for her nation. The Netherlands, though, well, always very, very strong indeed, and what a quartet they've got. Lisanne de Witte and Femke Bol. Bol there to left of picture. The world #1 at 400-metre hurdles last year, in only her second year at the event. But she is European indoor champion, of course, from nearby Torun here in Poland just a few weeks ago, and she took double gold as well as her nation won the 4x400 metres relay. I mean, that possibly is the favourite team come tomorrow's final, Jenny, that Dutch squad.
Yeah, just looking at the women that they've chose for the heats as well, there is other women to come into that, which will be interesting. Obviously, we're looking forward to watching the mixed 4x4 as well. So some of the athletes that we think might feature tomorrow in the women's standalone 4x4 are going in that event. This is the lineup here. In lane 3, we've got France. In lane 4, Kenya. In lane 5, Cuba, and in, well, I'm going to say the outside lane, the outside of 9 lanes is the Netherlands. Netherlands, of course, have already qualified for Tokyo Olympics.
Yes, Kenya, I always feel, are a sleeping giant in the sprint, certainly over 1 lap, but the relatively poor facilities and coaching opportunities in Kenya, not yet up to the levels of middle and long distance running, clearly. Cuba, well, Echevarria, a 25-year-old who is herself better known as a 400-metre hurdler, will carry the baton out of the blocks. She's run 55 seconds exactly for 400-metre hurdles. Her flat best, 52.4, but that was from just a few weeks ago. The Netherlands lead of athlete is Ava Hovenkamp. Only 6th in the Dutch indoors, and that does to some degree underline the strength and depth the Dutch have got. She ran 52.83 back in 2017. That is her best. I wonder if she's been inspired to come back and run quicker by the strength of her teammates. Femke Bol, at the tender age of 21, must already be a real heroine to so many Dutch youngsters. France, remember, go in 3, Kenya in 4, Cuba 5, Netherlands in 6. The Cubans, well, Echevarria will hand over to Almansa, then Vaitia, and Gomez will be the anchor leg runner. Amandine Brossier for France goes on the first leg. They're on the inside in lane 3. World Student Games bronze medalist a couple of years back. She has run 51.77. That was in 2019. And actually this indoor season she's gone pretty well. 52.1 indoors this winter. Ava Hovenkamp then being introduced to the stadium. Procedures are unchanged despite the absence of any crowd because of the pandemic. Zuria Echevarria of Cuba carry the baton out for them. Vladis Mojoki, the 26-year-old semi-finalist at the Commonwealth Games back in 2018, will be the lead-off athlete for Kenya. Actually quite a good long jumper. She's jumped 6.17 in the long jump. And then Amandine Brossier of France. She will hand over to Sofna Lacoste, Shana Grebo, and Floria Gay. Bit of a secret weapon, Floria Gay, as she's had a good winter on that final leg. Just 4 teams then in this second heat. Remember, the first 2 go through by right to tomorrow evening's final. Long hold there from the starter, but they get underway. Remember, the teams who have qualified already from the first heat, Poland and Belgium, who will join them. Italy's time, 3:30.04 in third place. Well, tell you what, the Cuban Almanza has gone off incredibly quickly. Echevarria, rather, has gone off incredibly quickly. Has already passed Hovenkamp, who is leaving her compatriots with a little work to do. Maybe this was expected from the Dutch, and hence the strong runners on the second and third legs. Remember, they got Lisanne de Witte on the third leg and Femke Bol on the fourth leg. But this is a fabulous opening leg from Zurian Echevarria of Cuba. Beginning to struggle a little bit in the closing meters there as she hands over to Almanza. But the Cubans head off with a comfortable lead on this second leg, with in third place at the moment behind the Netherlands, Kenya.
Yeah, Almanza's got a commanding lead there, hasn't she? An 800-metre specialist. She's actually got a personal best dating back to 2015 of 157.70, which is sheer world class. And we can just see, she looked up there. We've got a screen just around about 150 metres to go, so the athletes can just have a little glance, see where the teams are behind her. But I can tell her they're around about 10 to 15 metres. Cuba have got such a commanding lead at this point. France, of course, now coming into second place. Again, surprising to overtake the Netherlands team. Lacoste, the French champion from last year, running Almanza down now.
Yes, Almanza there just being run down. She held her form pretty well, but Lacoste ran a fabulous second leg there for France. And for France on this one, Shana Grebo is chasing Lisnady Veitia of Cuba, still out in front. The Netherlands, well, they've got a bit of work to do at the moment. That's about a 15-metre gap back in third place, up to France in second, who are being chasing hard, and Cuba are being caught here, I think. Cuba's Lisnady Veitia with 200 to run, as Grebo virtually breathing down her neck.
Yeah, Grebo here, the 400-metre hurdle specialist. We know hurdle specialists are always going to come home strong, and it actually looks like the Cuban athlete has just saved a little bit. Really sensible run here to make sure she comes home fresh. And I'm just watching here, Liane de Witte really chasing down the French athlete, who's really holding on and won't wait to be able to hand that baton over.
Really good running there, finishing strength from Veitia of Cuba to give them a good lead going into this final leg. Now, what can the secret weapon of Femke Bol and the Netherlands do here? I say secret weapon, not very secret, but she's got a 15-metre gap to make up. France in third place with Floria Gay on this final leg. Can she latch onto the coattails of Femke Bol in that orange of the Netherlands? Looking very smooth indeed, Bol. I know she knows she's only going to get into the first 2 to make it into the final. Maybe trying to keep a little bit of powder dry here for something special tomorrow. As Cuba come into the straight, 100 to run. Is she going to hang on here, though, Roxana Gomez, for Cuba? Closing with every stride is Femke Bol, the 21-year-old former judo player. And I don't think she's going to have enough track. She's going to run out of track to catch Cuba. It is Cuba and the Netherlands, with France back in third place, about 20 metres back. The winning time, 3:27.92. Well, that is about 0.3 of a second quicker than Poland in the first heat. That's a very impressive performance from that Cuban quartet. My word, did Veitia run well to hold that lead and give Gomez a real fighting chance. And in fact, Jenny, I think possibly Bol realised there was such a big gap up to the leader when she took the baton on that final leg. It really wasn't worth trying to bust a gut to get back to her, so to speak.
what I am finding more impressive is that these women can still dance and celebrate after running a 400 metres each, and they compose as well, which is great. Really great performance from them, and we should have expected it. You know, if you actually look at the individual athletes, they've got great personal bests. They've obviously never put it together as a squad before, but I think you're right, Tim. The way Femke Bol runs, she's very relaxed and she's quite deceptive. She doesn't look like she's actually travelling that quickly. It's just a long floating stride, but looking at her face the last 50 metres, I think she knew that she'd done enough, and she's going to be busy here this weekend. She may well run in the mixed 4x4 as well, and especially the final of this event, which the Netherlands would fancy themselves as maybe taking the victory, going all the way to line with the Polish, but the Cubans, they've thrown that into the mix, haven't they?
They have indeed, yes. Femke Bol, well, she looks relaxed at that speed because she is 6 foot tall, 1.83 meters. Let's confirm that result for you. And it was indeed Cuba who just kept the Netherlands at bay in this qualifying race, at least. So they go through by right, those first two teams, Cuba and the Netherlands. France with 3:30.46, so a little bit slower than Italy, who were third in the first heat, but they are quicker than Switzerland, who were fourth. So Switzerland definitely will not make it through to the final. Kenya bring up the rear with 3:39.34 there. Well, let's have a look at the athletes in this third and final heat of this opening discipline, the women's 4x400 meters relay. Japan coming up first. Mayu Kobayashi will be their lead-off athlete. Botswana behind them. Then Great Britain and Northern Ireland, very experienced squad that for the British. Chile's Quartet lead out the final team out. Germany with Nadina Gonska, their lead-off athlete. They'll be glad to get out on the track and have a stride out. These athletes, the warm-up track is just outside the stadium, of course, over the back straight, and the athletes all got to feel this track yesterday. There was a real pack of them through the middle of the day yesterday, practicing their baton exchanges more than anything else, of course. That can be the Achilles heel for so many squads, Jenny.
Yes, it can, and I think this is great opportunity as well for all the athletes to come together as a team, because there's nothing that you ever really do in the sport as a team. So to have a whole competition just focusing on the relays, I think they'll all have really enjoyed it. And you know, the feedback that we've had over the years is everyone wants to be at this event.
You know, Jenny, when I was racing about 100 years ago, I used to feel so much more relaxed in cross-country and road racing than track racing. Did you feel that same contrast between running an individual 400s and 800s and running with a baton in your hand? Is it a little bit less formal, less pressure?
I would enjoy it more, definitely, being part of a team. But actually, maybe it's my characteristics, I wouldn't want to let anyone down. So I used to get a little bit more nervous, if anything. But I was such a better 4x400 metre runner than individual 400 runner. So, yeah, maybe I should have carried a baton all the time.
I think some people undergo a massive change, almost a schizophrenic change. When they get a baton in their hands, they're different animals. There were many great athletes back in my day who were so much better, so much more competitive and able with a baton in their hands than running individually.
I think it's just the adrenaline, you know, sometimes you see your teammates go off and your heart rate gets elevated and you just don't want to let the side down, and I'm sure all these athletes here this weekend will feel the same. But I loved seeing those opening images of everyone just enjoying it. It's a celebration event, and yes, of course, there's qualification places up for grabs as well. But yeah, just such a great atmosphere to be part of, and a little bit jealous that it didn't happen when I was an athlete.
I was always envious of the relay runners at championships as well. Another opportunity to earn a medal when it comes to major championships. Let's have a look at the lineups though for this third and final heat. Japan, Botswana, Great Britain, Chile and Germany. Great Britain on paper have by far the quickest national record after Germany, and that German record goes back many, many years, of course. But the Japanese on their day, very, very disciplined when it comes to carrying the baton around. And Botswana, well, we'll have to wait and see. So let's have a look at these athletes. There's Nadina Gonska of Germany. She will hand over to Corinna Schwab, Karolina Palic, Ruth Sophia Spellmeyer-Preuss. With Chile inside them, 31-year-old Stephanie Saavedra is their lead-off athlete. Only a 53.8 athlete, but nonetheless will give 101% here, I'm sure. Ama Pipi of Great Britain goes in lane 5, the lead-off athlete for them, ran the third leg for Great Britain's silver medal winning Quartet at the European Indoors here in Poland, in Torun a few weeks ago. Botswana go in at lane 4. Now this is an interesting squad. Thomfang Basele is their lead-off athlete, but Matluku, Morocco and Moncho carries the pattern home for them. And then Japan go in at lane 1. Kobayashi, Matsumoto, Kawata and Shantaku is their quartet. Monthly Moncho, of course, a former world champion for Botswana, on the 4th leg for that squad. Interesting to see how she goes here today. Great Britain's squad carries plenty of experience as well. The Japanese, well, up against it perhaps a little bit here. Their lead-off athlete, Kobayashi, has a best of 54.6 from 3 years ago. That British squad with all its experience, Pipi, Zoe Clark, Jessie Knight and Jessica Turner. 3 of the 4 from that Torun quartet that took the bronze medal. Just the first 2 go through, remember, from these 5 teams. So away they go. That distance, but those distances between the runners, of course, incorporate a third bend, so it's always a little harder to judge how well the athletes are going on the first leg. But Great Britain's Ama Pipi looks pretty good, already closing on Saavedra of Chile, and indeed on Gonska of Germany. I would say this looks like a fabulous leg from Pipi. Basele of Botswana's got a bit of work to do yet, although she's going pretty well compared with Chile and Germany. Got Great Britain lead certainly at the moment. Japan some way back on the inside to extreme left of picture, but the German is holding her form well here, Nadina Gonska, as they come to the changeover. Great Britain have a marginal lead.
Yeah, we can just see Pipi there, just manages to get the baton to Zoe Clark, just ahead of the German squad. Zoe Clark had such a breakthrough from 2017 onwards. Really went from a young junior athlete to, you know, a consistent performer in the Great Britain team, and they're extending the lead at the moment. But Schwab from Germany is closing in. She'll take the inside, shorter route now at 200 metres, maybe the lead of around about 5 metres.
Well, Japan's first leg runner closed really well, Kobayashi, because they're right back in the mix now in 3rd place, although these 2 teams, Great Britain and Germany, have a lead of, what, about 15, 17 metres on the trio behind. Zoe Clark here running really strongly down the home straight, as you would expect, holding her form well, and that gap back to the Japanese holding at about 15 metres at the moment, but not much between Great Britain and Germany as Jessie Knight heads out on this 3rd leg for Britain ahead of Germany's Palic.
Yeah, Jessie Knight, another athlete who's really improved over the last few years. 400-metre hurdler. She had a big win indoors in 2019. And here she goes. She was part of the European indoor medal winning squad in Tehran just a couple of months ago. They're extending the lead there, probably 10 metres now from the German squad. Japanese squad still going well. They've got a dominant position now in 3rd place, but it's all about Great Britain and Germany as we come into the final 100 metres of this 3rd leg.
Well, Great Britain still in the lead, and the gap has grown enormously. There's the qualifying line. Behind the German athlete, you can see that white box moving down the home straight, which we've superimposed, and that shows you the line that the 3rd place team needs to get in front of to get one of the 2 non-automatic qualifying spots. So it looks like we may get only the first 2 teams from this one, because there was quite some gap between that qualifying line moving down the home straight a few seconds ago ahead of the Japanese in 3rd spot. Botswana with Moncho on this final leg down the back straight. She, of course, is closing and will go past Shintaku of Japan. There's that particular pass. She's very smooth and powerful, is Amantli Moncho of Botswana. but the gap through to the Germans is 30, 40 metres and surely insurmountable. There's Great Britain's Jessica Turner now, semi-finalist, better known as a 400-metre hurdler, coming down the home straight, semi-finalist in the World Championships back in 2019, eases across the line here from Germany. They go through okay, Great Britain and Germany. Botswana a long way back, and I fear will not make it.
No, it's interesting, isn't it, that all the times of the winning heats were all pretty similar, 3:27 and 3:28. It looks like Italy from the first heat will make it through, and France from heat 2. Well, the Germans are pleased with themselves, aren't they? That's a good time, 3:29.73. And yeah, confirmation there that Botswana was some 4 seconds away from making that final. Too much to make up, no matter what standard of athlete you are. But yeah, all smiles for the British athletes. Qualification was relatively easy.
And in fact, Jenny, just looking at the first 8 teams, as you said quite rightly, it was Italy and France who will go through as the 2 non-automatic qualifiers. But the gap behind France to the 9th best team, Switzerland, was absolutely massive. It was over 4 seconds. There was a very clear delineation between the top 8 in those 3 heats and the rest.
Great images, are they, that we're getting? I think it's just such a good opportunity to actually see the physicality of some of these athletes. Been working hard, of course, during lockdown, but yeah, the German athlete, she was in qualification place, but she took it all the way down to the line. Jessica Turner there, Zoe Clark, Emma Pippi, Jessie Knight.
Yeah, plenty of experience in that British quartet, and I'm sure more good running to come. The Japanese, well, they finished in 12th overall with 3:35.26. Of course, they hoping desperately that these next 12.5 weeks, because that's what it is, through to the Tokyo Olympic Games, they will be hoping desperately that pandemic conditions globally, but particularly back in Japan, improve dramatically. Japan failing to qualify, though, unfortunately, as I say, there are the teams that have made it through: Cuba, Poland, Belgium, Netherlands, Great Britain and Germany, all by right, with Italy and France winning themselves a life through to the final by dint of being non-automatic qualifiers. Just outside 3:30, those 2 teams at the bottom. Everything to play for, though. Come tomorrow, there'll be some tired legs which have to be taken into account, and there'll be 1 or 2 shake-ups in the different squads. Some fresh legs will be on display as well tomorrow in those finals.
It's interesting, actually, looking down the start list of how many athletes have been prepared to double up at these championships. Not only run a heat and perhaps a final of the 4x400 metre relay, but perhaps go in the mixed relay. Some athletes are also choosing to do the 4x4 and the 2x2 times 400 metres. So, again, it just shows there's a real appetite for this relay competition format.
Well, and without much delay, the men are just about ready to get out there. Their engines revving. France go in this first of 3 heats for the men's 4x400 metres relay. And it is rather a nice lineup, too, in this first heat. France against the Czech Republic with a certain Pavel Maslak going in their quartet against Kenya, Colombia and Japan. And the French, of course, too, can be very, very useful indeed. Han on the opening leg for them has plenty of experience. The Kenyans, well, I mentioned earlier how I always feel that Kenya have got such potential in the sprints, at the long sprints in particular, but it hasn't been fulfilled for many, many years with any depth on the international stage. The Colombians have qualified for the Olympics already, and Japan have 2. They are ranked 9th for Tokyo, so should have representation in Tokyo. So let's take a look at these athletes for this first of 3 heats in the men's 4x400 metres relay. There's the French quartet, followed out quickly by the Czech Republic. They are proud carriers of the baton. The Kenyans as well, a lot to run for. Colombia. And finally, the Japanese men, who are almost guaranteed selection or representation in Tokyo. So the top 8 teams, the teams who made the final effectively at the World Championships in Doha 2019, have booked their places in Tokyo. And then it's the next 7 teams who make it through. Next fastest 7 teams who will make it through. So, of course, there are teams that have already got a place amongst those 7 from places 9 through to 16. But they can be replaced. They can be leapfrogged and shunted further down the rankings. And some teams racing here haven't got into the top 16 yet. Hope to do so come the end of this weekend. And therefore book their spots for the Olympic Games. Other teams right on the cusp, very nervous about their position if they're in, say, 14th, 15th or 16th at the moment. And actually, if you're in those lower places, they're automatic qualifying positions, Jenny, and you're not even here, then you're very nervous.
Definitely, but Czech Republic, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing how they go. They're a team that you would already think were qualified. They're hanging on to this qualification at the moment. They're in 16th position. Of course, they've got Maslach, the European and world indoor champion, on numerous occasions. He goes here on their second leg, so they'll be looking to book their place into that final. Of course, as you've just said, Tim, you know, that also means they're in Tokyo, but you wouldn't want to be in those lower places, would you? Especially if you're not here. So 14th, 15th, 16th, I'm sure there's a lot of people nervous around the world watching this competition.
Stanley Kieti Mutunga is the lead-off athlete for Kenya. He'll pass on to William Rayan, David Sanaya Kipirante and Kevin Kiprotich Tonui. For Colombia, Yon Alejandro Palazza. And the first leg for Colombia's gold medal winning quartet in the Pan Am Games back in 2019. He's run 44.8 too. He's a pretty useful athlete, Palazza. Interesting to see how he goes here. Well, confirmation of these 5 teams in this first of 3 heats in the men's 4x400 meters relay. France, the Czech Republic, Kenya, Colombia and Japan. On paper, not a great deal between France and the Czech Republic. It'll be interesting to see how Maslach goes on leg 2 for the Czech squad. He is a legend in terms of indoor racing. So the winners back in 2019 in Yokohama were the USA. They took that win from Botswana and Jamaica. Japan then, their lead of athlete is Rikuya Ito, just 22 years old, but he's a 45.79 performer. Asian champion in the 4x4 back in 2019 as well. Palazza, as I mentioned, a 44.8 performer. He was at university in the USA, in Virginia, and benefited from great coaching out there. 26-year-old. Mutunga of Kenya. Hand up to Rayan Kabirante and Tonui. Their squad generally around 46 and a half seconds, their personal bests. The Czech Republic's lead-off man is Mikhail Dicenski, European indoor silver medalist in Torun just a few weeks ago in the 4x4. He ran the 3rd leg for them. And France with Mamadou Kasset Han, 34 years old now, the ex-Senegalese. Personal best of 46.09 from a couple of years back, but he's better known as a 400-meter hurdler. He's run, wait for it, over 400 hurdles, 48.4. Very, very classy performer over the barriers. That French squad, he will pass over to Loic Prévost, Nicolas Coubière and Thomas Yaudier. So same qualifying conditions as for the ladies earlier. Just the first 2 from each of the 3 heats will go through by right to tomorrow's final, with the next 2 quickest teams going through, the next 2 non-automatic qualifiers. Maslach there, getting ready for his second leg journey around this track. France, Czech Republic, Kenya, Colombia and Japan. Again, a very long hold in the blocks there for these athletes, and what is a cooling evening. It's already pretty crisp, but we're sitting here in our coats, and a very, very different temperature to yesterday, where it was a lovely, mild evening. But the temperature has dropped quite a few degrees from Friday as this quintet reaches 200 meters on this first leg. The Japanese Ito is a 45.7 performer and looking pretty strong. Just inside him, Colombia's Palazza has made up ground and is going well, possibly leading at the moment. Ito maybe sensed Palazza was there and has rallied as the Czechs in lane 4 with Dicenski on the first leg have had a very good run indeed. And maybe when this stagger unwinds, we will have the Czech Republic in lane 4 in the lead. The French with a bit of work to do back in lane 3, and certainly Kenya in lane 5 are struggling at the moment.
Yeah, it was Colombia, wasn't it, from Japan, from the Czech Republic. But at the break, it's all changed, and Japan and Saito is absolutely motoring down that back straight and now onto the bend and extending his lead. We're just seeing there, Colombia just got Matchlack from the Czech Republic right on his shoulder. I saw him actually blowing his hands before he got the baton. He was a little bit cold, but he's definitely heating this track up now and puffing the cheeks as he's trying to get past into second place. But Japan in the lead from the Czech Republic, from Colombia, from France, from Kenya.
That's a great leg from Kentaro Sato, the second leg for Japan, who head out with about a 7-meter lead over the Czech Republic. As expected, certainly Matchlack had a great run, the 30-year-old, to bring them through to second place. But Colombia are there, and battling away for Colombia in this third leg is Jan Alexander Solis. And he's moving onto the shoulder there of the Czech Republic's third leg runner, two Czech. 200 to run for them as Japan continue to stride on their merry way. This is very impressive from the Japanese. Remember, ranked 9th for Tokyo, they are assured surely of a place in the Olympic Games. That'll be a race to behold come the final day of the Olympic Games. Keep your fingers crossed on that one. But Japan leading. Colombia have moved through to second place. Czech Republic in third. Great run there from Colombia's third leg athlete Solis.
Yeah, it's an inspired performance, isn't it, by the Japanese quartet. Now we've got Kambata. What can he do? I wouldn't want to be in his position because he's got the world 400-meter silver medalist Zambrano working his way down that back straight, but with 200 meters to go, Japanese athlete is still doing incredibly well. And if they can pull this off, yes, I know it's only the heats, but this will be an absolutely emphatic and much surprised heat win. But I'm actually looking at Zambrano there. He's looking behind him. And Tim, take us through the last bit of the action.
Well, the Japanese are going to get home comfortably here with Kawabata taking the win, but Zambrano easing across the line was doing the absolute minimum. I saw him up in the crown of the final bend, glancing around, gauging the efforts of those behind him, and he almost teased them down this home straight and through the last 50 or 60, just keeping that gap at about a meter and a half to ensure that he does finish in second place with the rest of his teammates. So they go through, but Japan there, well, very differing fortunes for their quartet. Fabulous running from their men, very different fortunes to their ladies. I'm afraid the women's squad from Japan not making it through. Colombia, well, Zambrano there, I think, was almost running with one hand behind his back. He looked very relaxed indeed, as you said quite rightly, Jenny. He improved to 44.55 and then 44.15 at those World Championships in Doha 2019 to take the silver medal. But he never got a sniff really at Kawabata. Maybe he could have chased him down if he'd needed to, but Kawabata there, very determined and finished strongly.
He did. He absolutely went through that first 200 meters inspired, and sometimes you think people go off a little bit too quick, but he left plenty in the tank for that last 100 meters, and I brought you back into him because actually it's funny how you saw it differently than me, but on reflection I definitely think the Colombians were taking their time. Zambrano had obviously meters to spare at him, but I was a little bit tense. I saw the French team closing him down, but yeah, Colombia and Japan get through, and France will just be waiting on a time. So I've made a note of it, 3:04.78. That is the time that we're going to look for in the next two heats.
Well, two heats to come. Japan and Colombia go through by right to tomorrow's final without any trouble. France on 3:04.78 will be chewing their nails for a few minutes. Well, here are the athletes moving out for the next heat. Spain in lane 3. South Africa will be outside them. Then Belgium, Turkey, and bring up the rear here, the Netherlands. Strong squad that from the Dutch. Although they haven't qualified for Tokyo as yet. They're not in the top 16 ranked nations. Neither are Turkey. Belgium have, though. They are qualified, at least by finishing between, being on the ranking list between 9th and 16th. South Africa likewise. Bonavacia will be on the second leg for the Netherlands. A lead-off man, Joachim Dobber, has gold from the European indoors over 4x400 meters relay. The Spanish quartet, well, led off by Oscar Huzilos, who is a fabulous performer, reigning European indoor champion from Torun. The rest of their quartet, Lucas Bua, Manuel Guijarro and Samuel Garcia. Garcia there, big powerful fella, isn't he? And the South Africans, they're ranked 10th for Tokyo, so relatively safe, I think, Jenny.
Yeah. The interesting fact for me is that the Netherlands are not quite qualified yet. Winners of the European Indoor Championships just a couple of months ago, and their squad is following the exact same procedure that they did in Toran. First leg, Dobber. Second leg, Bonavesa. Third leg, Angela. And the fourth leg, Van Diepen.
So still a very grey, dull sky above us as dusk closes in. Final preparations for these athletes who have been so keen to get racing after not just a difficult winter, although of course we did have the Continental Tour indoor series, but a 2020 that was unique. Very, very difficult season for athletes who were training so hard through the previous winter and then suddenly found competition stopped dead for the first 2/3 of last summer probably, and only a lucky few got to race in the Diamond League meetings and other level meetings in that last few weeks of the 2020 summer. There is Oscar Huzilos, reigning European indoor champion. Has a best of 44.7 outdoors. That goes back 3 years, but he's very experienced. Remember in 2018 at the World Indoors, he thought he'd won gold, and he was being interviewed by Spanish TV, and then was told that he'd been disqualified for a lane infringement. So heat 2 coming up. So the second of 3 heats then, the Dutch on the outside in lane 7. It's the same team that won at the European Indoors in March in Torun, and they're running in the same order too. The lead-off man, Joachim Dobber, 23 years old, big fella. Turkey haven't qualified. Ogujan Kaya, just 20 years old, and the first leg in the European Junior gold medal winning squad back in 2019 for Turkey. Dylan Borley, 28 years old now. He's the youngest brother with Jonathan and Kevin, his elder brothers. His personal best, 45.55, was back in 2018. Kevin Borley will be on the final leg for Belgium. The South Africans have Lithe Pillai on the lead-off leg for them, from Zakiti Nene, Mavundla, and Ranti Marvin Degali on the last leg for them. And then Huzilos with Spain throwing everything in right at the start of their team effort. They'll be hoping that Huzilos can give them a bit of a cushion here, I suspect. He'll need to run out of his skin to give a decent chance for his 3 compatriots, Bua, Guijarro and Garcia. Give them a decent chance of coming home in the first 2 here. Remember from the first heat, Japan and Colombia are through by right. France were third with 3:04.78. South Africa, the squad with least pressure here. as they're in 10th place for Tokyo spots. So Spain's Oscar Huzilos on the inside in the red there with those familiar white armbands. It's moving well, Huzilos, but so are the men outside him. Joachim Dobber powering through 200 meters there to left of picture in that orange for the Netherlands. Has a season's best of 46.5 indoors. Huzilos this winter ran 46.22 for that European indoor gold, a race that he dominated in Torun. Great run this from the South African Pillay on the first leg in that yellow strip. My word, how he's gone past the two outside him with another bend to unwind as yet. But maybe the Netherlands with Dobber in the lead. Huzilos too ran very, very strongly, as we'll see as this stagger unwinds for Spain, although they have got a bit of work to do at the moment. And it is indeed South Africa who lead into the back straight. Zakiti Nene in the lead for them with the Netherlands. Bogut Bonivacia, plenty of experience there chasing.
Yeah, competitive at the front, isn't it? And we've got Nene here for South Africa, and he looks really controlled there, really relaxed. You can just see he's just taking a few deep breaths, and you need to save something for this final 100 meters. You need to really make sure that you come in with some momentum. Your team member will be waiting to get that baton, and it's the Netherlands, it's Bonivacia who does hand over the baton in that really significant first place. He's handed over now to Ramsey Angela. Again, as we've said, the same format, the same structure of that European indoor winning 4x400 meter team just a few months ago in Toran, but he is being followed all the way by the South African down that back straight.
Well, that was a brilliant leg from Bonivacia to take the Netherlands into the lead as they come around the crown of this final bend. South Africa breathing down the necks, but in the figure of Oscar Manvundla. Also going well back there is Belgium with Jonathan Sakur on the third leg for them. Kevin Borley will take over. Can he close the gap to that leading pair as the Netherlands take over just a metre or so down on South Africa? Belgium in third, Turkey in fourth, and then Spain back in fifth with a bit of work to do at the moment. Now, does the South African athlete here run a cagey race, just keep it steady down the back straight? This is Ranti Marvin Digale. Little glance up at the big screen there to see what's going on behind him. He won't be too worried about the Dutch so much as the gap behind the Netherlands athlete Tony van Diepen there. As Van Diepen swings wide now. Belgium, though, could be a danger. Kevin Borley in third place is kicking hard. The 33-year-old European champion way back in 2010 in Barcelona is fighting so hard to get to the South African Digale, but I don't know if he's going to get there, or is he? It's the Netherlands, South Africa and Belgium short by a metre of an automatic qualifying spot.
Well, that was an inspired run there by South Africa. We expected the Netherlands to win that. We expected Spain to actually feature a little bit more, but it shows how much they actually wanted to win, because Van Diepen absolutely went all the way to the line there to make sure that he took the win. South Africans, they're guaranteed that they're going to be in Tokyo now. They were lying in 10th place. They know it. They're happy. Some great runs, especially the first couple of legs. But yeah, that was such a competitive race, and here we see that last 100 metres, and yes, we're looking at who's going to win the race. We're looking at the Dutch squad coming away with the win, but Kevin Borley, that is very reminiscent of when he did win that European title. And I don't want to say it, but it was 11 years ago now. He came through that last 30 metres from 5th position to take that win, and it was rolling back the years there as he just finished so strong, but couldn't quite get to the South Africans for that automatic qualification for the final.
It was a superb leg from Borley. Can't wait to see what sort of split he got. He does finish strongly. Remember, in 2010, albeit 11 years ago, he moved from 5th to 1st in the last 50 metres to take that European crown in Barcelona. But the South Africans delighted with their end result, albeit 2nd place to the Dutch there. 3:03.03 to 3:03.079. Belgium very close behind in 3rd. Well, it's a cool evening and they're getting the athletes out nice and quick after their warm-ups nearby. Poland, Great Britain, Italy, Germany and Botswana in this third and final heat of the men's 4x400 metres relay. Botswana with the Commonwealth champion Isaac Makwala on the first leg for them, choosing a similar tactic to the Spanish, with Oscar Huzilos, their best athlete, on the first leg for the Iberian nation squad. Will it work better for Botswana? Great Britain, plenty of experience for them. The quartet, or a British quartet, took bronze medals at those European indoors in Torun. Poland too, very experienced. They're ranked 12th for Tokyo. They will go on the inside in lane 3, so they will surely be okay for a place in Tokyo. Germany, they have not qualified for Tokyo yet. Tobias Lange, their lead-off athlete, will hand over to Marvin Schlegel, Torben Juncker and Manuel Sanders. Who's your money on, Jen?
Oh, pressure question.
Absolutely.
I wasn't ready for that one. Oh, gosh. Can I just sit on the fence?
Well, it's up to you.
It's going to be competitive. You know, this is what the whole championships is about, isn't it? You know, just trying to get those qualifications. But Poland haven't yet qualified, which again is surprising. So I'm going to say that they're going to make the final. Great Britain already have qualified, of course, has Italy. Botswana, you look down those names, you think surely they've got a chance. And Germany have been so good at relays over the years, so efficient, of course. So I'm going to say Great Britain. I'm going to put my, I'll say them if I have to say somebody. But yeah, I think we can probably see Poland taking them all the way to the line as well.
Great Britain, Kevin Metzger goes on the third leg for them. Former triple jumper Metzger, best of 46.71 back in 2020 and 47.2 this winter. The Italians, Lorenzo Benatti, will be on the opening leg for them. Just 19 years old, but he was a European youth champion back in 2018. Man who is trying to find his feet in the senior ranks. He was 8th the following year in the European juniors, and then he went out in his heat of the European indoors just a few weeks back. Benatti will hand over to Sibilios, Lopez and Acchetti, and there is Makwala. What an athlete he is, a best of 43.72. He's a member of that very special club of athletes over one lap who have broken 44 seconds. 35 years old now. Commonwealth champion and reigning African Games champion. He's got a wonderful temperament.
He has, and his 200 metres is impressive as well, isn't it? 19.77, so sub 44 for the 4 and sub 20 for the 200. He looks very relaxed as well, doesn't he? An interesting tactic to put him out on that lead leg, hopefully get them a lead, and the rest of the guys can go and hopefully have inspired runs and hold on to that front position.
Tobias Lange there for Germany. Had some warm-up races in Gran Canaria recently. Indeed, many of the German athletes are training down in the Canaries in recent weeks for a bit of warmth. There's Benatti, 46.3, his best from last year. Great Britain's Joseph Bryant, just 22 years old, coached by Matt Elias, who was a great 400-metre hurdler and a great relay runner himself just a few years ago. Season's best of 46.81, Breyer, this winter. And the Polish lead-off athlete, Kajetan Drzyński, 45.9 performer. That was back in 2017, so when he was just 21. Former biathlete, by the way, is Drzyński. He's got a place in the final in his sights. So the third and final heat of men's 4x400 metres relay then. Poland go in 3, Great Britain in 4, Italy in 5, Germany in 6, Botswana in 7. And the first 2 go through by right. So away they go then, those long pink socks of Benatti, the Italian, right in the centre of the 5. Not hard to miss, are they? Not hard to spot, I should say. But Makwala has gone off harder. This is what the Botswana squad will have been hoping for. Build up a bit of a lead, a bit of a cushion for his compatriots. Leungo Scotch, Boitamualo Masilo, and Ditiro Nanzamani will be behind him. But Makwala here having a great run. The German is rallying too. Tobias Langer just easing away from Benatti, the Italian, that long flowing hair. Great Britain going okay here. Joseph Breyer has run a solid leg. He hands over with the Poles inside him. Dicenski also having had a good leg.
Competitive, isn't it? Behind Botswana, obviously 10 metres or so lead, but all the other nations looking to break simultaneously there, as Poland have just crept into that second place there. Kolak, strong, really tall competitor there for the Polish athletes, but yeah, they're all really together, aren't they, really? I'm just looking at James Williams for Great Britain. He just can't get past anybody, as the German athlete's trying to come out wide. So is the Italian athlete, and it's all to run for here down this home straight.
Well, has the gamble paid off for the Botswanans? They lead by a few metres here from the pack. It's almost a middle distance race there in that second leg as they head out for leg 3. Oh, and the Brits have gone down, and the third leg athlete, Kevin Metzger, has got a real challenge now. The 23-year-old. He's way, way down, and that may have scuppered Britain's chances of a place in the final as Botswana blast away out in front. Look at the tall German here, Torben Juncker, easing past. He dwarfs the athletes from Italy and Poland there as he eases past and into second place. But this is surely a forlorn chase from Kevin Metzger. That was a real shame for the British quartet. Metzger there has got to carry on running hard, but it's a very, very tough ask for him, and indeed for Dwayne Cowan on the final leg. Botswana then hand over with about a 20-metre lead. The Italians have had a fabulous leg there from Brian Lopez. Poland in third, Germany in fourth, Great Britain bringing up the rear, and way, way back now as Metzger struggled down the home straight on his leg. But it's academic, really, for Great Britain. They're way, way off a qualifying spot as Botswana continue to lead. 200 metres to run. Poland are chasing them down, though. Italy in third, Germany in fourth, and the gap is closing with every stride. It's Ditiro and Zamani for Botswana here on this final leg. 100 metres to run. Can he hang on? They're ranked 11th for Tokyo anyway, so Botswana is safe, surely, for the Olympic Games, and they're going to hang on, I think, as the Italians here, through Accetti, Vladimir Accetti, eases through to second place, past Poland, shunted back to third, Germany in fourth, and Great Britain come home in fifth place. A real shame that for the British quartet. These things happen. It's part of the cut and thrust of relay racing. I'd like to see the incident again. I'm not quite sure what happened, but what a shame.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? You know, not great for Great Britain, of course, but we can say if they can, you know, take anything from that, they are qualified, of course, already for Tokyo. But the Italian competitor on that final leg at Chetty was fantastic to get past the Poles, and it was Karol Zalewski as well. He was the lead leg runner in the 2018 World Indoor Championships when Poland broke the world indoor record, so he had an inspired run on that last leg. So here we are, we're just about seeing the incident. James Williams tries to come across, he tries to come across the German competitor, and you can just see his legs just get taken out as Kevin, what a shame, you know, former triple jumper, of course, and Kevin Metzger making his GB debut here in the 4x400 metres, and he'll be desperately disappointed.
Well, fabulous judgment from that Botswanan quartet, and indeed from the Italians. And look at the guts here from Vladimir Accetti, the 23-year-old Italian, easing past, head rocking from side to side, catches the Polish ankle leg man Zalewski. And that is no mean feat. Zalewski is a 45.1 performer. Accetti, a former European junior champion back in 2017, has done his nation proud there as they nab a spot in the final. But Zamani looks as cool as a cucumber after winning that one with his three compatriots.
Well, it was a significant run by the Italian as well on fourth leg to get that crucial second position. I'm just looking down the information system here. Poland 3:05.04. So from my reckoning, that means that Poland won't actually take a place in the final. Those next two spots would be taken up by Belgium, who were in third position in Heat 2, and by France, who were in third position in Heat 1.
There it is. Botswana and Italy go through by right. Poland 3:05.04. Germany and Great Britain way, way back. That is so disappointing for that British quartet. The ladies are qualifying, the women qualifying without any trouble. Let's have a look at that instant again when Great Britain had a problem. That's not it. That is the squad of mascots. Now, Italy there. Watch to the left there. Oh, and I'll tell you what. I think, actually, as you can see there, the British athletes are in the wrong positions. The incoming athletes, they should have seen that coming down the home straight, because it's the positions of the waiting runners are decided by the team positions at 200 meters, at halfway round the leg. And as they go through that, then the judges get the waiting athletes who are ready to go out on the next leg in the right order. And they came down the home straight, out of sync, so to speak, the British and German athletes there. So there are the qualifiers. Netherlands, Japan, South Africa, Belgium, Botswana, Colombia, France, and Italy going through. 3:04.81, the slowest time. Well, we can take a look at the band playing now. The KWK Stasic Brass Orchestra. Actually, grew up amongst the history of mining in this region, founded back in 1971. Originally amateur musicians, but now they play all over the world. They play at festivals and at Christmas and traditional feasts of miners. And 60 in the full brass orchestra that had a string section introduced a few years ago. And there's the mascots, Jenny's favourites.
They are my favourites.
So the next event, the women's 4x100 meters relay, the 3 heats, of course. Ghana coming out first. They haven't qualified for Tokyo. Neither have the Czech Republic. Italy, very excited. They were 7th in the World Championships in 2019, so they have indeed qualified. Japan coming out, as well as Brazil, who are in line for a place in Tokyo. They're 11th ranked. Achiampong will be the lead-off athlete. Chema Achiampong for Ghana. Latifa Ali, Yanit Amponsa, and Haluti Hor. They're a quartet. I love that strip that the Ghanaians are wearing, Jenny.
Colourful, isn't it?
Oh.
So the same principle applies for this one. It's the first 2 automatic qualifiers from each heat, and then the next 2 fastest from the 3 heats.
Japan will be in lane 6. Hanai Aoyama, their lead-off athlete. We'll pass over to Kodama, Saito, and Suruta. Back in 2019 in Yokohama, USA were the winners, taking the win from Canada and Kenya. USA announcing their inability to appear at these relays quite a few weeks back. Canada just a couple of weeks ago. It's perfectly understandable under the circumstances that prevail. And we focus upon the teams that are here. Italy Well, finalists in Doha, their lead-off athlete, Ioannelis Herrera Abreu.
Seen some great images here, the preparation that goes into this. A lot of these athletes will meet up regularly for national sprint squads. You can just see that they put a marker down. So everybody has different markers that they choose to do. They have to get used to the incoming speed of the runner who they're going to receive the baton from. Very nervous moments for a lot of them, and a lot of nations have a lot of technicians working with them. They'll be studying the footage. They'll be sometimes grabbing their own footage, sometimes going off these photos or these images. And then they'll go back to the practice track, have a look at it. They'll certainly do that overnight, make some final adjustments and preparations. And of course, it has been a little bit more difficult for a lot of the athletes to meet up, to practice those technical skills. But they're all coming here, of course, hoping to put on a good show.
So the Czech Republic, Joanna Kajsarova, Kodama for Japan. He's on the second leg. So Brazil go on the outside. Their quartet. Lemos, Rosa, Azevedo. Ayama, Kodama, Saito, Tsuruta. Japan in lane 6. And of course, 4x100 meter racing, relay racing. While it leaves far less room for error than 4x400 meters, as we see the Italians, Herrera Abreu, on the opening leg for them. It does give teams without quite the same speed in the 4 individual runners a chance of qualifying simply by slick baton changing. The technical aspects of getting that baton changing right raise in significance. Czech Republic, we saw just then Joanna Kajsarova on the opening leg for them, and Ghana with their lead-off athlete Gemma Achiampong. 2 years ago, it was actually USA from Jamaica and Germany with the first 3 teams, with Brazil in 4th, and Italy and Australia in 5th and 6th. Fastest time in the world this year, 42.70 by an American university squad. But anything down there around 43.5, high 43s is very, very quick indeed. Ghana in 3, Czech Republic 4, Italy 5, Japan 6, Brazil in 7. The first 2 go through by right. Good running from the Japanese, Oyama, second to right. Now, the changeover is so critical. Looks smooth from the Japanese. Brazilians are good relay runners too. Also going well, the Italian centre of picture in blue, the second leg runner for them, Gloria Hooper. That long second leg, so important. Italians leading at the moment. Goodness me. Certainly the Czech Republic have got a lot of work to do back in lane 4 as the Italians, oh, the poor change-up from the Italians there. They lost 2 or 3 meters on the Brazilians, and that was that was the victory gone as the Brazilians bring it home now. Rosangela Santos taking it there from Italy and Japan. Terrible changeover there from the Italians. They had it in the bag, so to speak. Changeovers have to be right. It's like you can lose a sprint race with a poor start. You can lose a 4x100 meter relay with one poor changeover. And the baton speed of the Brazilians was superb. It roared past the Italians, a couple lanes inside them.
was an interesting race, wasn't it? The first runner, the lead-off runner from Japan, was out of the blocks, and they were leading actually after that first leg. But it all changed on the third leg, of course, with the Italians showing the dominance. But exactly how you called it prior to the race, Tim, you know, it is about slick backing changes, not always, you know, necessarily the speed of the athletes on the four legs. And a great time, 43.56 seconds from the Brazilians. If Italy can sort that out tomorrow, they look like they can vastly improve, of course. And we're just going to take a look at Japan, 44.17 seconds. So that's the fastest time so far. That's not qualified automatically. Here we go. This is the second change. This is from leg 2 to leg 3. See, the Japanese changeover wasn't quite as slick as the first one. And this is what we're going to focus on. This is the Italians' fourth leg runner. Just has to have another look, doesn't she? It's great if you can just actually shout your incoming runner. Tells you, you know, you don't have to actually have a visual change like you do in the rest of the relays, but just had to have a little bit of a look. She couldn't quite feel the baton in her hand, and yeah, that cost the victory there.
It looked like a momentary delay, didn't it? The split-second delay, but actually, with the Brazilians maintaining the momentum, it actually cost them probably 3 or 4 yards. Huge margin in sprinting terms. Well, there's confirmation that Brazil and Italy do go through despite that poor change. The Italians making it through okay. Japan 44.17, only a metre or so off it. We'll have to wait and see if they go through with that. 2 more heats to come. Ghana and the Czech Republic, some little way back. So the athletes out for this second heat of 3 in the women's 4x100 metres relay. Then Poland coming out, ranked 16th for Tokyo, right on the cusp. Ireland in 24th place, way off the Tokyo place at the moment. Ecuador, the Netherlands, what a squad they have got. More of that in a minute. And Zambia bringing up the rear. They will be in lane 7. So Brazil and Italy, the 2 teams through from the first heat. Japan's time in 3rd place, 44.17. Indeed, 4th place Ghana, 44.85, though I fear that will be a little way outside what is likely to get a non-automatic qualifying spot. Daphne Slippers. Well, she's the 2nd or the 3rd fastest athlete in history over 200 metres. I think the 2nd fastest in history over 200 metres. Former world champion Skippers. He's had a fair share of injuries these last couple of years, but it is nonetheless a very strong quartet that the Dutch are putting out. Skippers on the second leg, the long back straight leg, which I know that might sound a bit strange, but they talk about the back straight leg being the longest because you can take the baton early going into that first bend at the changeover, and or coming out of the first bend, I should say, and then hand over late going into the second bend, and actually you can maximize the power and speed of a really strong 200-meter run up, for example, down the back straight, and in effect give them about 120-meter leg to run, which is quite some advantage if it's done well. Skippers will receive that baton, we hope, from Jamila Samuel, and will pass on to Nadine Visser and Margie van Hunenstein. Ecuador, Angela Gabriela Tenorio. Their lead-off athlete will hand over to Suarez, then Villalba and Landazuri. Ecuador in 40th place on the world rankings. Just to reiterate that the top 8 teams in the world rankings have guaranteed their spots by dint of making the final in Doha 2019. Then the next 8 teams are in likely spots to make the Tokyo Games, but they can be shunted out of the top 16 and lose a Tokyo slot this weekend. Poland, 16th for Tokyo. They are very much in need of a quick time this weekend. First of all, they need to make the final with Marika Popovic-Strapala on the opening leg for them. It's cold now, Jenny. It's a cool evening. You were talking before we came on air about maybe putting some gloves on. This is far from ideal conditions for sprinters.
Yeah, I was watching Maslak before. I think I mentioned it, the 4x4. He was actually blowing on his hands, and yeah, it won't be too bad for the athletes. Of course, they've managed to warm up and they've gone through the preparations. Just us, Tim, isn't it, sat here? But yeah, this is a fascinating heat of this women's 4x100 metres. Only well, I was going to say only the Netherlands. In fact, it's quite surprising. The Netherlands have not yet qualified for Tokyo. They sit in 9th position. So, of course, getting to this final would guarantee that. Being in 9th position, you would actually think they're not going to drop out of the top 16. But, yeah, really looking forward to seeing what Ireland can do as well. They've had some really good indoor performances. We're looking at Molly Scott here. She was the lead-off runner back in 2018 when the Irish team won a silver in the World Juniors. I'm sure all people in Ireland and Irish athletics celebrated that one.
Well, there's Poland's Guzowska handing over to Adamek, Sokolska and Skrzydowska. Hardly a breath of wind in the stadium. It is sheltered because of the bowl, and it's a deep stadium too, with all the stands covered from above. So heat 2 then. Poland on the inside really need a strong run here. They'll be chasing that Irish quartet. Molly Scott for Ireland has gone off well, chasing the Tenorio of Ecuador in the blue in the centre there. But the Irish have lost a little bit of ground. Not a great change over there from the Poles. Leading at the moment of the Dutch quartet, as you would expect. Skippers down the back straight. Eases into the bend and hands over to Visser. That's a nice changeover. Visser's roars. Skipper roars Visser on her way. Ecuador inside them are going well. Not a bad change from Ecuador, but Poland on the inside have really used that stagger well. And down the home straight, it's the Netherlands from Poland. Ecuador in 3rd place, Ireland in 4th. 43.29 there by the Netherlands. That's the 3rd fastest time in the world this year. It looked pretty slick, and I don't think there was a great deal of holding back there. Skippers ran a superb leg and had a great changeover to Visser. And Marie van Hunenstein doing all that was needed to carry the baton home safely there. Already qualified for Tokyo, for all intents and purposes, Netherlands, and that's a very comfortable win indeed. Well, I suspect there's been a lot of frustration from Daphne Skippers this last couple of years, Jenny. You know, she's suffered a lot of injuries after 3 or 4 years of quite superb sprinting over 100 and 200 metres, taking global medals and indeed a world 200-metre title. And tonight, well, she's looking fit and strong and clearly delighted to be back, and the emotion there was almost palpable from Vissers as she completed that 3rd leg and handed over here to Nadine Visser. There she is in orange. Look at Skippers here, yelling, screaming Visser on her way. They had a comfortable lead.
They did. There was no weak link in that team at all, was there? All 4 of these athletes have got medals at major championships, whether individual or in the relay, and a well-drilled team. Oh, you see the Polish athlete there really closing her down, but 43.28 seconds. That was faster than the Brazilians registered in the first one.
That was a fabulous leg from the Polish final leg athlete there. Boy. So heat 2 then, won by the Netherlands. Poland were closing, but about 0.36 of a second is that down. Ecuador in third place, setting a national record, 43.86, and that is a clear indication this is a fast surface because conditions aren't ideal tonight. It's cool, there's not much breeze, but it's how the sprinters love a bit of sun on their back and warm conditions. Ireland 44.53. Well, we're just hearing that there's bad news for a team from Heat 1 when Brazil, we thought, had taken the win. Now watch this runner, left a picture there, that foot on the line, I'm afraid, and another one from the outgoing final leg runner for Brazil, Santos, right on the line, and that wasn't necessary. They were in the lead. That is such a shame. So let's have a look at the adjusted result. Brazil disqualified. Very, very sad news for the South American quartet. Italy then the winners, and Japan promoted to a qualifying spot for the final. Ghana in third and Czech Republic in fourth. And so to Heat 3, Spain, Denmark, Switzerland and France. Just 4 teams in this one. Switzerland, well, they are wonderful carriers with a baton. Fourth at the World Championships in 2019 to secure their spot for Tokyo. So no pressure on their quartet here tonight. There's Ricarda Dicha. She will hand over to Salome Cora, Cornelia Halber and Cynthia Reinle. That Swiss quartet with the best of 42.18 are very classy indeed. Italy, remember, winning that first heat after Brazil's disqualification, 44.02 from Japan's 44.17. The Netherlands winning the second heat, 43.28 from Poland's 43.64. And at the moment, the teams in 7th and 8th places, Zambia and Ghana on 44.81 and 44.85. Those are vulnerable times, Jenny.
They are, and you know, I've got to go back to that run by the Ecuadorian team. You said beforehand they were ranked 40th, and they could well have got themselves into a final position for Tokyo. A national record, 43.86 seconds. I don't think any of us would have expected that before, but I actually watched the faces beforehand, and they looked like they were here to do some serious business. They must have known something, and the rest of the world didn't know. And yeah, I'm sure in third position they're going to qualify for that final, but let's see.
Well, it was a national record by 2 100ths of a second, but who cares? It's a national record. 1 100th would do. Kramer will be the lead-off athlete for the Danes. They're ranked 20th in the world. They need a great run here. She'll hand over to Astrid Glenna Fransen, Mette Gravesgaard and Ida Karsdoft. There's Gravesgaard, I should say, on the third leg. And Spain, well, Maria Isabel Perez, Estela Garcia, Paula Sevilla, and Cristina Lara. There's Sevilla, she on the third leg, practicing her run out of the changeover zone. So 20-meter changeover zones for the athletes. The baton has to be transferred within that zone. So obviously the athlete receiving the baton just inside that yellow line has 20 meters in which to accelerate, timing that acceleration perfectly for the incoming athlete to reach them and pass over the baton smoothly. And so often you see athletes head off too early, accelerate away, and the incoming tiring athlete can't reach them. Or conversely, they go off too late and the incoming athlete almost runs into the back of them, and there's a huge slowing of the baton speed. France then go on the outside in this third and final heat, the women's 4x100 meters relay. Olan Ombisa Zongu on the first leg for them. We'll hand over to Leduc, Paré and Richard Menga. Switzerland with Ricarda Dicha, then Cora, Halber and Reinle, their quartet. See how well drilled they will be. Let's watch their baton changeovers carefully in the red there. Second from the outside. Denmark Well, there's the shy retiring Matilda Kramer. Looking forward to heading out of the blocks and handing over to her teammate Glenna Fransen. They are ranked 20th in the world at the moment. Denmark, not yet in sight of a Tokyo spot. And Spain, 21st. So on paper, closely ranked with Denmark. So Netherlands, Poland, Italy and Japan guaranteed spots in the final at the moment. Ecuador most certainly, with that national record. They are the third fastest of the teams from the two heats we've seen so far, even though they finished third in Heat 2. They're faster than Italy and Japan, who were first and second in Heat 1. Spain in 3, Denmark in 4, Switzerland in 5, France in lane 6. Nobody really showing at the moment. The echelon hasn't changed at the first changeover very much indeed. The Spanish outgoing athlete went off far too early, and I think that might have been a questionable changeover for the Spanish. To the right of picture there, dear oh dear. Now, watch the Swiss, second to right in the red. Good changeover for them, chasing the French hard. The French are pretty useful. Marussia Paré on this third leg for France. The Swiss have got a bit of catching to do. She didn't go off really early enough, Minga of France, and the Swiss made up a metre or so, but she's coming back at them. Reinler of Switzerland chasing hard, but the French are going to take this. Coming through strongly, take third place is Denmark. They're about 3 metres behind the Swiss, and Spain in fourth place. Well, France taking it in 33.04 from Switzerland. In fact, just checking, excuse me, 43.51 for France. That would have been second in the first heat. Would have been good enough to win the first heat. But France and Switzerland definitely go through. Denmark in third with 44.25. And Denmark, with that run, do ease into the top 8, Jenny.
Yeah, it looks like Ecuador will take a position in the final, and so will Denmark. So 44.25 for third place is enough for the Danish squad. I'm sure they're delighted.
The automatic qualifiers: Netherlands, France, Poland, Switzerland, and then Italy and Japan. Ecuador, one of the non-automatic qualifiers, along with Denmark. Spain were the 9th fastest team. They just miss out by, well, 13/100ths of a second, with Ireland the 10th fastest. Let's have a look at that Spanish changeover in that third heat. The changeover between leg 1 and leg 2. Look at the bottom of picture. And it's right on that outgoing zone line. I don't know if they'll get the benefit of the doubt from the judges, but it's academic actually in a way. Spain were 9th fastest and didn't quite make it through to the final, whatever outcome the judges decide. Good final leg there from the French last leg runner Zara Richard Minga. Although certainly Reinler of Switzerland was closing, chasing really hard.
Well, it's amazing what technology we've got at this moment. Things changing all the time, of course, in the sport, but we can see some of the splits for the last 100 metres, and some of these women are running, well, all of them are running below 11 seconds. Of course, they've got the benefit of momentum from starting off on that exchange, but the French athlete 10.47 was the fastest on that last 100-metre leg.
Shows what a difference a rolling start can make, doesn't it? You know, if you're going through the start of your 100 metres in effect from that changeover zone virtually flat out, well, you're making up, what, 7, 8, 9 metres perhaps on somebody who would have been coming out of blocks
Yeah, probably almost a second. So yeah, maybe eight tenths or so. But yeah, it actually benefits those people, maybe 200-meter athletes who need a little bit more time to get up to their acceleration. But yeah, we can see the Danish are delighted there.
Well, rightly so. Ecuador, the stars of that particular qualifying series of races with their national record, 5th fastest of the all the teams there, 14 teams. The Brazilians very sadly disqualified after winning that first heat. So frustrating for them. But you have to hang together as a team. So here's the Turkish team. The men's 4x100 meters relay is next. The call room under the stands where they're keeping warm. I'm sure they'll be well aware that it's not the warmest day for May Day.
There's a few long sleeve tops on, isn't there?
There certainly are. There's a few on up here in the high in the stands. Well, this is the Polish National Song and Dance Ensemble. I'm told one of the most recognizable artistic ensembles in the world, founded back in 1953. Well, their work is a treasure trove of Polish culture, which the ensemble has presented and showcased for nearly 7 decades. Can you believe? They perform in over 200 concerts a year. Well, their diverse and colourful costumes come from the various regions of Poland, and pretty special visual experience there. France, Switzerland and Denmark, with Denmark qualifying with that small queue as a non-automatic qualifier. Spain weren't disqualified, but they were in 4th place and unfortunately unable to make the final. A little way back in that 3rd heat. Let's have a look at some Danish celebrations. Bringing home the bacon, that's what the ladies did tonight. Look.
And that's what we live for. That's what we want to see. I was actually watching them from the commentary position. I was looking down onto the track, and there's a big results board here, and the big queue came up for the first 2 teams who qualified automatically, and they were, I think they must have been looking and thinking, where's the small queue? Where's the small queue? And that was the reaction once they saw it.
Those are the 8 teams that have qualified for the final. Netherlands, France, Poland and Switzerland by right. Ecuador with that national record going through as a non-automatic qualifier, as did Denmark. We saw that celebration. Italy and Japan go through as well. Japan, one of the beneficiary of Brazil's sad disqualification from the first heat. They were originally in 3rd with their time 44.17, but then got elevated to 2nd. So the big fellas are out next. 3 heats of the men's 4x100 meters relay. Turkey will be first out. So Turkey, the Czech Republic, the Netherlands, Spain. These are the squads in this first heat of 3. Ghana and Ukraine. The men's 4x100 meters relay. Even less time for these big, fast fellas to get things right, and ample time in which to get things wrong, as we see so often in major championships when the pressure is on. With no pressure, the delicacy and precision required to hand over that baton when moving at over 20 mph is very, very high indeed, the demands. But in a championship situation with teams around you, bodies battling away on either side of you, crowds roaring, lights flashing, it can be very, very difficult indeed. Now there is a special athlete for Turkey, Ramil Guliev, former world champion at 200 meters. He's a sub-10 second performer at 100 as well. And he's on the final leg for Turkey. They have got the inside lane, which is lane 3 in this particular race. 6 teams go in this one, by the way. Turkey, the Czech Republic, the Netherlands, Spain, Ghana and Ukraine. And they're ranked 15th in the world at the moment, Turkey, so just inside the qualifying grouping of 16, but they would love to embed themselves more deeply into that top 16 teams. The Netherlands going in lane 5. We'll have seen their women's quartet qualify very impressively indeed. They are 8th from the World Championships back in 2019. You just had to make the final in Doha. Even if you were disqualified or failed to finish, you still received that ranking to qualify you, guarantee a spot in Tokyo. Those little strips being put down on the track. It's what the outgoing runner will be watching, and when his incoming runner reaches that strip, then he will start his acceleration. So they watch that mark when their teammate reaches it, coming at them at, as I say, over 20 mph, then they head off. Hand flipped out backwards, and whether it's the upstroke or the downstroke in the exchange of the baton, then you hope it goes smoothly. Well, the Czech Republic have Jiří Polak on the second leg from them. Their lead-off athlete will be Zdeněk Stromzik. Jan Jurka on the third leg for them. Around that second bend, and he'll hand over to the very experienced Jan Veleba on the anchor leg. Jenny, you're running plenty of 4x400s, but are you familiar with the pressures of 4x100?
I am familiar, but only at club level, and that was enough for me, Tim. Yeah, you've got plenty more time to have a visual change at club level, but the speeds that these guys are going, you don't want that visual. We saw, obviously, the Italians already. You know, you don't want to actually have to take a look. You don't want the baton to slow down. It's not about, like we say, the speed of the athletes, it's the speed of the baton during this 400-meter lap.
So Ukraine on the outside, they haven't qualified for Tokyo. They're in 21st place. Kostritsa, their lead-off athlete. Ghana in lane 7. They are in 12th place, so have 1 foot on the plane to Tokyo. Safo Antwi, Sean Safo Antwi, very experienced, goes on the lead-off for them. Spain go in lane 6. Jose Gonzalez will hand over to Retamal, then Gomez and Lopez on the 3rd and 4th legs. Ranked 30th though, Spain. They need a wonderful run these next 2 days. They've got to make the final if they want to go to Tokyo. The Netherlands in lane 5. Van Gool, Burnett, Garia and Chirandi Martina on the final leg from them. One of the senior statesmen of the Dutch squad, but a fabulous sprinter, a sub-10 second man at 100, of course, good at 200 as well. The Czech Republic, well, they haven't qualified for Tokyo, but very nearly have a foot on the plane, so to speak. They're 17th ranked. Zdeněk Stromzik, their lead-off athlete. And Emre Zafer Barnes, the lead-off man for Turkey. He'll hand over to Jack Ali Harvey, Ertan Özkan and Guliev, Ramil Guliev on the final leg for them. You feel with an athlete of Guliev's caliber, just stay there, give him a fighting chance, get that baton to him smoothly, and he can really hunt people down on that home straight run. But so little room for error when you've got about 10 seconds of running to do. They can't work miracles, these fellas. You've got to get the baton round smoothly. Turkey in 3, Czech Republic 4, Netherlands 5, Spain in 6, Ghana 7, and Ukraine in lane 8. First 2 go through by right again. That's the qualifying conditions in all these relay qualifying races through today. Not a bad change over there for Turkey, quite safe. Oh, and one athlete has gone down there, and I think it's the Czechs who've had a disaster, I'm afraid. Who's in the lead here? Ghana going well, also going pretty well. The Ukraine on the outside. Look to at the Netherlands. The Netherlands in 5, and that orange strip looking strong. Surely they lead at the moment, and they've got so much experience on this final leg in the figure of Trandi Martina. Ghana are battling away here, though. Huanda, Joseph Paul Anda, coming through. Does he get it on the dip? It's very tight indeed. Ukraine in 3rd place on the outside. It might have been the Netherlands who just hung on. It doesn't really matter. It was very, very tight indeed. But they look like, on paper at least, 2 teams that get through without any trouble, barring judges spotting any indiscretions. The Netherlands and Ghana. 38.79 for the Netherlands. And it's the 3rd place time, of course, that is critical. Ghana, 38.79 as well. They lose by 8 1/1000ths of a second. That was the winning margin for the Netherlands over Ghana. 38.782 for the Netherlands, 38.790 for Ghana.
Well, it was fast and furious, wasn't it? And I was actually watching on the back straight that second changeover from the Netherlands team, 2 to 3. It was tight. Really tight, but it's come up as an official result, 38.79, and it was close all the way to the line as well, wasn't it? Just 8,000ths of a second, as you say. So here we go. This
Turkey
is
on the inside we're watching here, Jenny, at the bottom.
Oh, you just see.
Turkey were okay. It was the Czech baton, I think, that hit the deck.
Yeah, it was, and yeah, we're just looking here, you know, we talked about the Turkish athlete, you know, Guliev. He just had too much running to do, but the Ghanaian team came all the way back to the Netherlands team, and as we say, it was just thousandths that split them in the end, but both of those teams secures their position in that final tomorrow.
Yeah, you can see Guliev there, resigned to jogging across the line virtually. He knew it was a hopeless chase, unfortunately. What a shame for the Czech Republic, Jan Veleba. Indeed, the 3rd leg man, Jan Jurka, never getting a sniff of the baton when it was dropped between legs 1 and 2. And you have to accept these little knocks philosophically as a relay athlete. They happen. You can't be screaming at teammates. You have to hang together as a team. There it is, a win for the Netherlands, 38.79 by 8 1/1000ths of a second. They took the win in the first of 3 heats in the men's 4x100 metres relay over Ghana. Ukraine, 39.06. We'll see if that is good enough to get them through. Spain and Turkey bringing up the rear. So Germany lead out the athletes and the teams for this second heat. Zimbabwe, they haven't qualified for Tokyo. Germany have unofficially with a 12th ranked position. Poland at 28th, can you believe? You'd think they'd be a little bit higher. Denmark, they're down in 40th in the world rankings. A lot of work to do to them. Brazil, well, they were 4th in the World Championships in 2019. They are certainly going to be in Tokyo, as indeed surely are that Japanese quartet, because they are the bronze medalists from Doha 2019. And a totally different quartet it is, though, for Japan to those who took the bronze at the World Championships. We'll see how they go. It doesn't really matter, I suppose, because they have their spot.
Yeah, and it gives a lot of people an opportunity, doesn't it? It's not just the 4 that obviously compete in that final. It takes around about 8 competitors to be part of that squad. And sometimes you just have to accept you don't get a run. Sometimes you're used in a heat and another athlete will be brought in for that final. But whoever does fill those Japanese spots, they're guaranteed a position, as you say, Tim.
Well, Brazil won the last edition of these relays, with Rodrigo de Nascimento leading off their quartet on that occasion. Indeed, 3 out of the 4 who took 4th at the World Championships in 2019 are in this Brazilian quartet. They have really very much got their A squad out. Camilo there for that Brazilian squad. Poland, well, they go in lane 5. And Kopek on the second leg for them, measuring out his tape positions.
You wouldn't want to lose concentration, would you, when you're measuring out those tape positions? It's interesting how they all just use how many feet in shoes. I guess it's easier than actually getting a tape measure out.
Well, it is, yeah, and if there's a little bit of bend involved...
Yeah, more technical, isn't it?
It's so straightforward and quick. Not high-tech, but effective.
No, and it's what you learn at school and it's what you learn at club athletics. And if any young athletes are watching this, you know, the pros do it exactly the same way.
Sadly, I think not enough schools are really showing youngsters these days, in the UK, certainly, where you and I are from, Jenny, where to put the tape down in a sprint relay. But most of them, I think, have never owned a pair of spikes. And we hope that will change in years to come. So that tape going down, you're being put down. When the incoming runner reaches that, that's when the outgoing runner begins their acceleration from the crouch position. Denmark, well, they're in lane 6, good lane draw, but they're in 40th place. They really are with an outside chance of qualifying for Tokyo. Kamanga Dirbak is on the second leg for them and take the baton from the lead-off runner Simon Hansen. So let's take a look at each of these squads. Japan, very, very well-drilled quartet. They are so much better as a sum of all their parts than as individuals. Ryuki Sakai, their lead-off man. Rodrigo do Nascimento for Brazil, they too. Fourth at the World Championships in 2019. Quite a little rematch this, really, with the 3rd and 4th places in lines 8 and 7, respectively, from the last World Championships. Denmark, Simon Hansen, their lead-off man. Kamanga Dirbak, Musa and Shao Nielsen, their quartet. Poland. I always feel that the Poles are great relay racers, but actually it's their 400-meter runners who do the great relay racing, isn't it? They don't quite meet the best standards in the sprint relays. Zimbabwe go in lane 4. Kamungaremu. Dixon, Kamungaremu, their lead-off man, will hand over to Jarambo, Dulovu and Makusha. And then Germany. Well, Julien Reus, he plenty of experience. Joshua Hartmann, Dennis Almaz, and Marvin Schulte on the anchor leg for the Germans. We've seen drop batons, we've seen disqualifications because of lane infringements in the heats so far from the women and the men. Let's hope this goes smoothly. Second of 3 heats in the men's 4x100 meters relay. Brazil in lane 7, causing quite an upset a couple of years ago when they beat the USA into 2nd place. Well, away they go. These are amongst the longest holes in the under the starters' orders that I've ever known, but they get away smoothly, and I don't think we've had a full start yet, so it's going well. Now, I didn't see anything go wrong there. Japan on the outside moving well. The World Championship bronze medalist quartet with the 4th places inside them. The big guns on the outside in 7 and 8. Brazil in the green. Japan under a little bit of pressure here. Brazil have them in their sights in the green there, left of picture. Going well in lane 3 is Germany as well. They're in 3rd place surely at the moment. Not a bad changeover there from Denmark. Down the home straight it is Brazil, though, eased right away from the Japanese. Brazil and Germany in 2nd place. Great run that from the Germans. Not quite sure what happened to the Japanese. Was that a bad last changeover for the Japanese, because they were right up alongside the Brazilians, and then halfway down the home straight they were 5 meters down.
Tim, I was watching all the action behind, and I was looking at the Danish squad, and I thought, you know, in 40th position, whether they could do what the Ecuadorian women did and get through, but they had a great run, certainly much better than they were supposed to be placed. Brazil it was, 38-44 from the German quartet, 38-70. Them two will progress to the final. And here's the rest of the results. Japan, 38-98. Denmark, 39-06.
Yes, the Danes, I thought they ran well, setting a national record there, 39.06. They've taken almost half a second off their national record, that Danish squad. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. In fact, just checking, they have taken more than half a second off. That's a Danish time, 39.06. Their previous national record was 39.61. Wow.
You just know sometimes, you know, I was actually watching the Danish runner, the third leg runner, as he actually handed the baton over, and very like Daphne Skippers, he was celebrating, he was putting his fist in the air, he knew they were going well, and amazing to see another national record.
Isn't it just? Yeah, the Japanese, dreadful changeover there, and the Brazilians, well, were handed 3 meters on the plate, and the Germans with a good changeover, storming down the home straight. Lovely final leg there from Marvin Schulte. Germans 38.70, producing the second fastest time of the day, actually quicker than the Netherlands, the winner of the first heat. And Brazil, well, by 2 or 3 meters, the quickest of all of them so far, 38.44. Japan, well, they are the fastest of the non-automatic qualifiers so far with 38.98, coming third in that one, and then fourth in that one. Denmark are also in a hot seat at the moment, with one finger on a place, one hand on a place in the final. Ukraine will definitely not make it. They unfortunately are 7th fastest so far with 39.06, with 1 heat to come.
Well, I wouldn't mind being picked up by the mascots, would you? That's one way to celebrate a national record.
I think they struggle to pick me up these days, Jenny. The amount of running I'm getting done out here. There it is, Brazil winning from Germany. Japan in third, a national record for Denmark. Fabulous stuff from the Danes in 4th place. That surely deserves a place in the final, but there are more teams to come in this third heat. 6 teams to come in heat 3 who will be trying to ease into tomorrow's final. Italy, first out. They are in lane 3. Belarus, Botswana, Portugal, South Africa, and last but not least, the French squad, who I think came out a bit early, did they? Were they second out?
They were eager. They wanted to get their marks in place.
We'll count down to the first final there. Just over 13 minutes until that mixed race, the 2 times 2 by 400 meters. Just 2 athletes per team in that one. And their recovery after running a 400 is just the length of their teammates' run following run. Fascinating. Some people have called it a glorified training session, but it will be very, very interesting to see it unfold here. So, teams we know through so far, just to reiterate that for you. Brazil, Germany, Netherlands, Ghana, Japan, Denmark are the 6th fastest. But Brazil, Germany, Netherlands and Ghana definitely through by dint of being in the first 2 in their heats. Fittingly, they are the 4 fastest teams. Japan's 38.98 wouldn't have got them a qualifying spot in the heat that they didn't compete in so far. Heat 1. South Africa, well, they were 5th in the World Championships in Doha. They have very much qualified for the Olympic Games. 3 of the 4 from that World Championship team are here. Legs 1, 3 and 4 are all the same. Only leg 2, that's Teodliso Gift Letlela. He is the new man in that South African quartet. They go in lane 7, will be chasing France outside them. Portugal are in lane 6. Pazerez is in on the lead-off leg. And the French, well, their lead-off man, Amaury Golotin, looks like he's running in the full bodysuit. I don't blame him. It's a chilly evening. I really thought when we landed here on Thursday, stepping off the plane late at night, it was pleasantly mild, and then yesterday it was glorious, warm, sunny all day. The athletes loved their time out in the sun here on the track here, going through the motions and enjoying the empty stadium. Well, tonight it's an empty stadium, but the temperature could hardly be more different. Third and final heat of the men's 4x100 meters coming up, with the first final of this first day just a few minutes away. Well, the French quartet, Amaury Golotin will be their lead-off man. He'll hand over to Marvin René, Meba Mikhail Zeze, and Muhammadu Fall on the final leg for them. The South Africans with that strong squad: Thando Dlodlo, Leotlela Muniai, and Akane Simbine on the final leg for them. And what form he has been in recently. Under 10 seconds for 100 in the Southern Hemisphere season, the South African season. Portugal, Prazeres, Antunes, Cavelo and Santos. 24th ranked, the Portuguese. They need a fabulous run here tonight and tomorrow. Botswana, well, Manewa, Tebogo, Mothibi and Masasa. They're in 5. Then the Belarus team: Bliznets, Darahukapets, Pustabayu, and Zabalotny, excuse me, on the final leg. Yuri Zabalotny. They are ranked 48th, the Belarusian squad. They really are outsiders for a likely Tokyo promotion, so to speak. And Italy on the inside, a 10th ranked, Jenny. They are a good squad, the Italians, and I suspect will go well here.
Yeah, great leg runner on the last leg. Filipino Tartu. Let's see what he can do. Let's see if the baton gets to him first and foremost.
Well, the Italians failed to finish 2 years ago in Yokohama. Let's hope this qualifying heat goes well for them. They're on the inside. Belarus in second, Botswana third, in lane 5 rather. Portugal in 6, South Africa 7, and France in lane 8. Good running from Botswana in the light blue, third from left at the moment in lane 5. Not a bad change-up from Botswana either. They're well up on Portugal at the moment. Going well on the inside of the Italians. This second leg for them is Jacobs. And that's a good change-up from the Italians. Again, they're in the blue to right of picture. Moving through well ahead of Botswana. The South Africans looking pretty strong too, second to left, with France outside them. But the Italians have had a really crisp race with some nice changeovers. Now the South Africans, Simbine down the home straight. Can he get there? No, he can't. Can't close down on the Italians, who take the win from South Africa. Big gap back to the French there. The French final leg athlete, Muhammadu Fall, throws the baton down in frustration in third place, but it was 4 or 5 meters down on the South Africans. And from the Italians, that was a brilliant, brilliant run.
Yeah, the Italians were on the inside, weren't they? And I guess they had the benefit of being able to see all the other teams outside them. 38.44 seconds from 38.49 for South Africa. Oh, well, how close is this going to be to take that position for the final on the next fastest times? France 39.07. Now I'm pretty sure we had a 39.06 from the Danish squad. Yes, that's right, that was the national record. And I'm just looking back, the Ukrainian squad also recorded 39.06 in the first round. and Japan were 38.98. So we can say that the Japanese are definitely going to take that position in the final. And then who is it going to be between the Ukraine and the Danish, with, unfortunately, France missing out on that final just by 1/100th of a second.
Well, it's almost as though Fall, the final leg athlete for France, knew that that was going to befall him and his teammates, missing out on a place by 1/100th of a second. That's almost literally the thickness of a vest. Great running there, though, from Italy, 38.44. And that's from Italy, the fastest of all of them. Better than Brazil, better than South Africa.
I think it all came down to the changeovers. They were really slick. They lost no time at all with that baton. And Tortu, we were looking forward to that last leg, weren't we? We're looking forward to actually seeing the last two competitors, the Italian athlete Tortu and Simbini from South Africa. And come that final, when they're going all the way to the line, it's going to be a tight one.
Well, that's the second fastest time in the world this year from the Italians. 38.44. Only a Chinese squad on the 20th of March went quicker, but it's better than the Canadians, who've run 38.49 back in fact, last weekend, 24th of April, and any other squads. So no wonder the Italians are celebrating. It's not a national record. Their national record is 38.11, about 3 meters quicker, but 38.44 is crisp 4x100 meter running.
Yeah, it certainly is. The beginning of May on a cold evening, that bodes really well. A couple of months' time in Tokyo, in nicer weather, more practice under the belts, those technical skills, as well as honing in their individual skills, of course. Yeah, they should be delighted.
So, Italy, very, very impressive there. Next event on the track, the first final of the night. Something to really relish. Well, many of you may not have seen an event like this before. It's the 2x400 meters relay. 2 athletes per squad. Slovakia coming out first, the Slovak Republic. Their athletes Daniela Ledečka and Patrik Dotomor. So they run 400 meters twice, each of them. Very, very tough, with less than a minute's recovery. Naomi Corrier and Ferguson Chariot Rotich is that Kenyan pairing. For Slovenia, Anita Horvat and Zan Rudolph. Really, this is perhaps the one event where middle distance runners, the 800-meter performers, can just get their finger in the pie, so to speak, because running 400 with such a short recovery twice is very, very tough indeed. That was the Portuguese Dorotei Evora and João Coelho. The Polish pairing getting a cheer from the officials and other workers in the stadium, Joanna Jozwik and Patryk Dubek. They were 4th in 2019, the best placed of any team here. And Belarus completing the lineup of the 6 teams. They were 5th in 2019 in Yokohama with Ilana Vilakanovic and Ilya Kanavukau. Would you have fancied something like this, Jen? I'd have loved to have a go at something like this. Not that I could run 400 metres very well, but it's just, I just like the challenge of it.
It is a challenge, isn't it? And we talked about the nerves of the 4x100 metres. I think these athletes might be the most nervous athletes, and we just see Josvik there do a big breath out. This is a training session. This is tough. It's actually a session that I used to do as an 800-metre athlete. I would run a repetition of a 400 metres, have somewhere between 30 seconds and 60 seconds recovery, and do another. I call it a split 800. And looking down the start list here, we've got 400-metre athletes, we've got 400-metre hurdlers, and we've got 800-metre athletes taking on this challenge. So it's one of those spectacles that everyone enjoys, but I'm sure they're all a little bit nervous.
I bet they're nervous because it's going to be painful. How do you run it? Do you run your first 400 flat out and hope that in the 45 or 50 seconds recovery you recover enough to put in a half-decent performance in the second one? Surely not. You have to give, what, 95, 96% on your first run and produce absolutely 101% on your second run and hope they even out.
You'd actually think that you could come back stronger on the second one, I think. And the biggest thing is not to get carried away. So if we look down the list, you know, as an 800-metre runner, I'm looking at, you know, Josvik from Poland. She was 5th in the Rio Olympics and 2nd recently at the European Indoor Championships. But she'll be up against some women who have a faster 400-metre personal best than her. Interesting, the Slovenian pairing, they're the only team to actually field a team from Slovenia, so they must fancy the chances. And Horvat, the lead-off leg, the female athlete, is around a 51.22, which is very, very quick for a 400-metre athlete. So don't get too carried away. Don't go with the pace. Work out, you know, I'm sure they've done a training session to work out what sort of pace they should go, but very interesting. We can sit back and enjoy this one, Tim.
Well, it was held for the first time in Yokohama 2019 as we see these lead-off ladies. Ledečka for Slovakia, with across now to Belarus, Velikanovic. Let's go from the inside out. It's Ledečka for Slovakia, Kenya's Korea, Slovenia's Horvat, Portugal's Elvora, Poland's Josvik. There she is, a 1:57 performer at 800 metres. She has real speed and strength. And the Belarusian Velikanovic. Now, this is a 400 metres, but you wouldn't expect most of them to run, what, Jenny, much quicker than around 53-ish, something like that?
Well, I'm actually surprised how slow this has gone off.
I was just going to say that, but I didn't want to. I'm glad you were.
It looked about 15 seconds for the first 100 metres, which would be about 60 seconds for 400. So just looking at 200, it's about 29. So this would definitely favour the 800-metre athletes. And, yeah, surprised. I thought we were looking around about 55 seconds. So tentative. Let's just say it's been a tentative start.
It has, and I suspect it's because they're unfamiliar with this sort of territory. It's a strange challenge. I mean, as an 800-metre runner, did you ever do 2 400s with just a minute's rest? Korea it is on the shoulder of Josvik as they come down the home straight, but none of them look really that stressed, considering they've got they've just supposed to run a 400. I would have thought it's somewhere around 90 and 95%.
Yeah, it's basically a time that you were registered through 800 metres, but here we go. Kenya are still up there, and Poland, in fact, I'm just looking at that caption, it's not quite right. So Polish athlete Dobrek, he's interesting. He's a 400-metre hurdler, but actually took the indoor 800-metre title indoors. Just getting overtaken there by the Kenyan athlete Korea. Rotich, he was 5th in Rio. Spectacular 800-metre runner, 1:42.54. So it really does favour the 800-metre runners at the front.
Well, again, I'm a little surprised at the lack of urgency in these men on their first leg. Easy to say from up here, but they are the ones who can judge it best from down there. It's a cold night as, well, the Kenyan athlete Korea takes over in the lead very marginally from Josvik of Poland. And they have got a handover again to their male compatriots who will run their second leg. That will be the final leg, of course, as they go into the back straight. Naomi Korea beginning to work a little bit harder now. Josvik with that long raking stride looks very comfortable, almost cutting her stride there in the slipstream of Korea. 200 metres to run. Going well at the moment, I think it's Slovenia's Anita Horvat. And she's making ground on that leading pair. I wonder if they're aware that the ground they've made up so far is kind of being thrown away by allowing chasing runners to close up. It shouldn't be as tactical as this, is my opinion. As you can see, coming through, Horvat of Slovenia is catching Korea of Kenya. Josvik, though, has pushed away hard through this last 150 and hands over to her compatriots with a big lead there, Patrick Dobek. Now the final leg.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see too much lactic acid produced, are we? And Dobek has got a big lead there. Like I say, a 400-metre hurdler turned 800-metre athlete. So we're going to think that he's going to be coming home really, really strong. And we're just watching the Kenyan athlete there coming into second position. That's Rotich, 5th in Rio Olympic Games. He actually got a bronze at the World Championships in Doha 2 years ago. But the Poles are away, and this looks like an emphatic win for them.
Well, Dobek is 7 times a Polish champion at 400-metre hurdles, and they are tough fellas, the 400-metre hurdlers. It's a very, very vicious event, and he's working hard here to stay clear. There's chasing going on behind. Vicious chasing from Chariot Rotich. He gets second place there, but he doesn't have time to close up on Dobek. Poland take the win from Kenya. And in second place there, in third place rather, was Slovenia. The rest of them bringing up the rear. Portugal just coming home, but that was very comfortable indeed for Poland.
Yeah, that is the pairing that we thought would win that. Slovenia did fancy the chances though, didn't they? Like I say, this was the only team that they fielded here at this World Relays, and Jan Rudolph came home really, really strong on that second 400-metre leg, just to close in there on third position.
Well, and the prize money for that one, we haven't mentioned the prize money yet, $12,000 for the winning pairing, $6,000 for second, and then it drops down to $2,500 for third. There is prize money for all the different finalists at these relays. Poland 3:40.92 ahead of Kenya, Slovenia, Belarus, Portugal and the Slovak Republic. But a comfortable win by the bigger chunk of a second there. Poland over Kenya. 1,600 metres and 3:40.92. There was a lot of tactile running going on there, which really surprised me, Jenny. I've not seen it before, and I was expecting it to be a little bit more flat out, guts out on the track, you know, really giving it everything. I mean, the world mile record's 3:43. That's over 1,600 metres, and the winning time there was 3:40.
It is a tough challenge, and maybe the athletes thought it was going to be a little bit tougher. And it was interesting, actually, how they started on the curved line. And we saw straight away Josvik come across as an 800-metre specialist. She knew to do that. She dominated. But this was the pairing that we did think would take the victory.
We're just seeing these changeovers. That's the second changeover. There are quite a few bodies in the way of these athletes, as Josvik here on the third leg kicked hard through the last 150, and that built the winning lead for the Poles over Horvat and Slovenia. And Jan Rudolph, all he could do was chase hard, but Dobek, very, very competent carry by him. Judged it well, looking up at the big screen, and coming home there without too much trouble. The victor.
In fact, the mascot hardly let him get across the line, did he? That might have been his biggest challenge of the evening, trying to slow himself down.
He's not a small fella either, Josvik. I'd like to Dobek, I'd like to know who the mascot is. He's been working out a little bit, the old cheater.
Well, I think that's a smile of elation and maybe a little bit of relief as well. You know, when you are hosting an event like this, and you are, you know, one of the favourites, it's hard to carry that tag, isn't it? So I'm sure the Polish duo will be really, really pleased that they've managed to do what they were supposed to.
3:40.92. Well, the all-time best time is 3:36.92, exactly 4 seconds quicker. So that gives you some idea of the calibre of that run. And it did become effectively a tactical affair. Certainly the ladies were holding back significantly, I thought, in their legs.
Well, the Kenyans are pleased, aren't they? They're capturing the moment. Selfies. Can you take a selfie, Tim? Any good at selfies?
No, awful. My camera refuses. So just looking in the last 4x100 metres relay for men, Portugal there are disqualified, unfortunately. There you can see that changeover outside the yellow line. That was an awful effort from the Portuguese. What a shame. And I think the incoming runner knew it. Look, he was powerless to do anything about it. So an adjustment there with the disqualification of Portugal. It was Delvis Santos who was going out maybe a little too early. Italy winning from South Africa, France, Botswana, Belarus, and Portugal disqualified. Well, let's have a look again then at the qualifiers for the men's 4x100 meters relay final tomorrow night. Italy, the quickest, along with Brazil, but just a few thousand. South Africa, Germany, Netherlands, Ghana, Japan, and Denmark. Well, the mixed relay athletes out now for the first of 3 heats. Netherlands, Czech Republic, Portugal, France, Spain, Turkey and Kenya. And the mascots, are they going to take up a lane? So I'm hearing there is no official result yet been issued for that 2x400 meters relay. There, we believe, might have been a disqualification. And can you believe it's Portugal again disqualified? What a shame. Portugal disqualified. Poland were the winners from Kenya and Slovenia, with Belarus and Slovak Republic in 5th place. Portugal, their duo, disqualified, I'm afraid. We haven't seen the offence yet, but Dorote Evora and João Coelho were their duo. So a lot of hard work for a lot of disappointment for them, I'm afraid. Great shame. So the next event on the track, the 4x400 meters mixed relay. We have 3 heats. And Jenny, yet again, this is something that I think is a fantastic innovation for the sport. The 2x400 meters that we've just seen is not an Olympic event, but this is one that is being introduced to major championship, global championship programs. It took place in Doha 2019, and it will be in Tokyo later on this summer. Men and women mixing it up in a 4x400.
Yeah, and it's a good addition. I'm just looking, actually, I watched the Dutch squad, Tony van Diepen. We can also see the French athlete Brossier there. A lot of these athletes have already competed in the individual 4x4 for men and women already this evening. So this is the second time some of these athletes are going around this 400-metre circuit. And again, all the teams want to be there. It's another opportunity to represent your country, try to compete for a medal. So this is a great innovation, and it looked really, really good in Doha, and I think a lot of the teams are really taking this event seriously. Hence, you know, they're all deciding to compete here this weekend.
Well, it is May the 1st. The Olympic Games, you may have heard me say earlier, are just over 12 weeks away. The athletics at the Olympic Games, that is. And that makes it a very, very long summer. And athletes have to gauge their peak, the intensity of their plateau of great performances. It's a little too early for that just yet. So this is a weekend for some of these athletes of good, hard training mixed with racing. The French have 2 athletes, 2 ladies, 2 women on the first 2 legs, unusually. Amandine Brossier and Elisa Trinkler. Lane 3, the Czech Republic, who had problems in their 4x100 meters race. Kenya go in lane 8. Jared Momanyi will hand over to Joan Tarono, then Mary Morar and Aaron Koech on the final leg. Turkey go in lane 7. Kubilay Enchu will hand over to Yildirim Polat and Oren. Buzra Yildirim, Elif Polat and Sinan Oren. Spain going in lane 6. Julio Arenas, their lead-off athlete. The French with that unusual strategic decision, woman, woman, man, man, their quartet, that's their running order. Most quartets go man, woman, woman, man. Indeed, Portugal, well, they're going woman, man, woman, man, so there are various permutations possible. Their lead-off athlete, Vera Barbosa. The Czech Republic going man, woman, woman, man. And Kursek, their lead-off athlete, Martij Kursek. And then the Netherlands on the inside. Nout Waardenburg is the lead-off man. He'll hand over to Femke Bol, who we saw run a 400 earlier, of course. Lieke Klaver and Tony van Diepen. So they're going man, woman, woman, man. Jenny, in your opinion, is there a right or wrong order? It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is, but looking at the 3 heats, the majority have gone man, woman, woman, man. It's just this first heat where we've had a differential from that. So, I mean, I guess we'll see how it works out.
Well, of course, it does mean that France, in lane 5, after 2 legs, will be quite a long way down on the other teams. And they're gambling that their men on the 3rd and 4th legs will make up that deficit. Again, an extraordinarily long hold in the blocks for the athletes. Time to go and have a cup of tea virtually. Netherlands on the inside. Czech Republic's Kursek has gone blasting off. Of course, you would expect him to, because outside him, Portugal have Vera Barbosa. So you get these dramatic contrasts, these huge gaps appearing, because some of the athletes are men running at 45, 46 second pace, and others are women running at 52, 53 second pace or even slower. They're all giving 100%, but on the outside here, going well, is Jared Momanyi of Kenya, being chased down by Enchu of Turkey. Inside him, Spain's Julio Arenas. Now, the takeover there between Spain and Turkey, almost identical. Andrea Jimenez for Spain and Bursa Yildirim, the ladies for Spain and Turkey, the women who have gone off. But leading at the moment in lane 2 is the Netherlands, Femke Bol. Well, she has the opportunity here, Jenny, to build up a big, big lead on those other ladies behind her.
Yeah, she does, and it shows how seriously these nations are taking this, that some of these athletes are competing so much over the weekend. But if you could just see there, with about 150 metres to go in the green of Portugal, we've actually got De Santos here, the Portuguese male athlete who's trying to run some of these women down. Of course, they've opted for that change of format as Femke Bol now hands over to Klavier. She got the Dutch 200-metre indoor record this year. She's in great form. She actually got the 400-metre record as well until Femke Bol traded it with her. And here we go. This is another change in tactic now. This is a French athlete, almost, 70, 80 metres behind here onto this 3rd leg. And he'll be hunting these women down, seeing how far he can get that space reduced on this 3rd leg.
So Femke Bol ran a great leg. Lieke Klaver now on this 3rd leg for the Netherlands, out in front, and a very healthy lead it is too. Spain going well in 2nd place with Auri Lorena Boquesa. Running wide there, down the outside is the Czech athlete Lada Vondrova. And a pack behind this leading pair. And good running there from the French athlete on this 3rd leg. That's Christopher Aliali. And Thomas Jordier now for France. What sort of inroads can he make on this leg? Well, surely the Netherlands aren't going to be caught, Jen.
Well, I was just going to say, it looks like the Netherlands have got this one stitched up. It's in the bag with 200 metres to go. An athlete like Van Diepen, no one's going to catch him. But fascinating, into 3rd place there. We're just trying to catch the frame here. Turkish athletes coming into 3rd place there. They're all, of course, trying to run for those positions in those finals, those non-automatic qualifications, as the Dutch athlete Van Diepen can really just take his time coming over the line, and it's a fight for that 3rd position. Oh, and who got that one?
I think it might have been Well, hard to tell. It was a blue vest. I thought maybe the French.
You know, what I really like about this event is you're not just looking at the front, you're looking all the way back, what is happening through the field, because people are trading places all the way, and maybe a little bit of cramp there for Tony van Diepen.
I'm not surprised, but the Netherlands win it from Spain. It was indeed the French who took third place. Remember, the qualifying is just the first two teams through by right to tomorrow's final. With, again, two non-automatic qualifier spots. So the Netherlands winning that one pretty impressively.
So we talked about the tactics, didn't we? And, you know, France adopted something different with two women going first, then the two men going in third and fourth. Oh, we're just looking here at the Kenyan squad. Oh, just before the changeover. Oh, that looked nasty. I'm sure that's a bit of a graze of the arm. But they did actually manage to complete the race. Yeah, up and running again. There we see. But yeah, the French team, they did actually manage to come back into third position after that difference of running order compared to the others. So I don't know if we can say it worked or it didn't work, but they did okay. So just images there of Van Diepen. He looked like he was really relaxed, and I think almost when he came across the line, he just got a little bit of cramp at the end. But the Spanish team have qualified for that final, so they can enjoy themselves this evening, go back to the hotel, maybe decide if they're going for the same format tomorrow. Is there any other athletes to come into that squad? And the French, of course, face that anxious wait now. They'll have to watch the next two heats to see whether they can qualify on a positional time.
So the athletes for this second heat coming out: Belgium, Italy, Poland, South Africa, Japan, Colombia. Cold for them, I bet. And the Slovak Republic bringing up the rear.
So a little bit more straightforward, this one. In fact, the next two heats have all gone for the same order. Man, woman, woman, man. So not as much dramatics expected on this one.
Well, we're just hearing that the 2x2 by 400 meters, Portugal have been reinstated. There must have been an appeal and a review of the video evidence, and Portugal have been reinstated, finished in 5th place, 351.69. So Slovak Republic were for a little while in 5th place, but are back to 6th, I'm afraid, in that one. Spain setting a national record, by the way, in that mixed relay. First heat, 3:18.98, almost a second behind the Netherlands with that world lead, 3:18.04. And France in the fastest non-automatic qualifier spot at the moment, 3:20.95. Well, the shuttle hurdles final, the mixed final, coming up in 30 minutes from now. That'll be at 2 minutes to the hour. The second final of this first day. Of course, tomorrow it's finals all the way. 7 disciplines, 7 finals. Here in this rather glorious facility. There's a slight mist across the arena now, such as the drop in temperature. But the Poles, well, I suspect they'll be strong in this one. Rożeniak goes on the first leg for them. Mateusz Rożeniak. They've chosen to go for man, woman, woman, man. The Italians in lane 2, likewise, man, woman, woman, man. Indeed, as you pointed out quite rightly, Jenny, every squad in this race opting for that format. I wonder why. Can you think of the sort of the thinking behind that? If every athlete's giving their all,
It shouldn't make a difference, should it? Because at the end of the day, it's 4 athletes running 400 metres. But I think experience teaches you that. So maybe it's a format that other people have adopted at the beginning, and then people seem to think the best teams were doing it that way. So, yeah, out of the 3 heats, it was just that first heat with France and Portugal deciding to break the mould.
Well, 3:18.04 sets the standard by the Netherlands, with Spain a fabulous national record, 3:18.98. Slovakia on the outside in this second heat, the Slovak Republic. Oliver Murchko on their leading leg. He will hand over to Iveta Putalova, Emma Zapletalova, and then Simon Bujina. Colombia go in lane 7. Palazza, John Alejandro Palazza, who has already raced this evening on the opening leg for them. Japan in lane 6. There's been a change for their final leg athlete. Suzuki will carry the baton home once Ikeda takes it out of the blocks. South Africa with Ukana Kozweo. He'll hand over to Darlene and Pitti, Taylor, Bilo, and Degale, who has also already raced as well on the 4th leg. Poland, well, they've just had a rather successful experience in the 2x2 by 400 metres. Rezniak goes on the opening leg for them, Mateusz Rezniak. Italy, Edoardo Scotti will hand over to Giancarlo Trevisan, Alice Mangione, and Davide Rey on the final leg for them. That's a good squad from the Italians. Belgium, Jonathan Sakour, interesting athlete, only a youngster, trains with the Borlés. Cynthia Bolingo he'll hand over to, and then Camille Laus and Kevin Borlé on the final leg for the Belgians. Again, strong squad that from the Belgians. Well, the team who were 3rd in the first heat, France, ran 3:20.95. And in 4th place, Turkey, 3:20.98. So those are the times to watch. Belgium, Italy, Poland, South Africa, Japan, Colombia, and Slovak Republic. Well, away we go then. 4 laps of the track, 4 different athletes, the order being man, woman, woman, man. This is a new discipline and an innovation that has been widely received very positively, hence its acceptance into the World Athletics Championships, as in Doha 2 years ago, and it will be in Tokyo in late July, early August this summer. Good running here from Palazza on the opening leg for Colombo. Dark glasses and all. The Japanese working hard. There is Ikeda just inside him, left of picture.
Yeah, great start there by Colombia from Perez. He was a lead-off for the 4th position when they were 4th in the men's 4x4 in Doha. But all changed there, and really interesting for a lot of these women to receive the baton at high speed by the men there. But everyone seemed to have got the baton, no problems, as we break on the 2nd leg. And it's the Italians, yeah, it's the Italians that lead. This is athlete Trevisan. She was 3rd in the World Relays back in the last edition in the women's 4x4. Italy have hosted a great squad in that event for a number of years, and she digs in deep here, trying to get a really good lead for her teammates going into that 3rd leg.
Trevisan finishing superbly here. Japan in 2nd place, being run down now. It's that Belgium coming through to 2nd place, but Trevisan has run an astonishing leg. She hands over with 7 or 8 metres lead. Belgium is who take over in 2nd place. Camille Laus now for them. She's already raced this evening. Japan in 3rd place here, giving a good account of themselves. That's Mayu Koyabashi for Japan, easing past Laos of Belgium, who must be running on tired legs. That's perhaps forgivable. Poland back in 4th place at the moment. Lazowska in 4th place for them, and moving through really strongly too. The Slovak Republic round the outside. There's a real pack there chasing down the Italians, who are enjoying this. Alice Mangione running superbly well to maintain that lead as Laos now kicks hard in her second run of the evening. But the Italians, that has to be 25 metres lead. Brilliant run from them, and this should be a relative breeze for Davide Re on the final leg for Italy. Belgium it is who take over in second place with Kevin Borlée.
Yeah, Borlée is a great relay runner. We've already seen him compete, of course, in the 4x4 heats earlier this evening, but you wouldn't think that he could run down Ray. Ray has gone under 45 seconds for the 400 metres twice in his lifetime. He's the Italian national record holder, but I'm saying that, I hope Ray has actually left himself a little bit here. He has a quick look over his shoulder as the chasing pack comes around. Sembrano there from Colombia, coming from fourth into third position, trying to pass the pole, and it's Kevin Borlée in second, but it is Ray from Italy who takes the win in 3:16.50. That is very quick.
It is quick, yes. The Italians there enjoying that one. That's a time that almost makes it into the all-time top 10 for the Italians. Belgium having a great leg there from Kevin Borlée, finishing in second place. Just waiting for those times to be confirmed. Italy's 3:16.51, in fact. Fastest time in the world this year, of course. Belgium 3:17.22. And in third place, Colombia 3:17.61. As I mentioned, that is a world-leading time for the Italians. Comfortably winning that from what was a strong Belgian squad.
Well, we can just see the pain, can't we? Laos is having to do exactly the same as the Dutch athletes had to actually do to Van Diepen, and Bolingo looks like she's in a little bit of pain there. This is a true 400-metre lactic in those legs, and I hope she saved enough for day two.
The first four, as we see this first change of the first four in that second heat, are the four fastest times of the day. They're all faster than the winner of the first heat, the Netherlands. Can you believe? This was a major contributory factor. The brilliant running of Giancarlo Trevisan on the second leg for Italy, handing over to her teammate Alice Mangione. The Italians just never gave anybody else a chance. They really put together a wonderful team effort. Belgium, with Bolingo and Laos and Borlée and Jonathan Sakura on their opening leg, put out a very strong quartet, but the Italians, well, almost in a different class here. No wonder they're pleased. That was quick. The world best, I don't know if I can call it a world record, 3:09.34 by the USA. That was in Doha, actually, at those World Championships late in September 2019. But that's a top-notch time and a great win from the Italians in that second heat. So the third and final heat then, the teams coming out. Belarus lead them out. Brazil will be right behind them. Botswana enjoying these relays. Then the Irish. All smiles there. Phil Healy and Charlene Horsley. Germany, Dominican Republic, and Great Britain and Northern Ireland bring up the rear. Well, Great Britain need a bit of luck after that bad luck in the 4x400 earlier on. The baton was dropped. And it is a strong British quartet. Rabah Youssef, Lavia Nielsen, Emily Diamond, and Lee Thompson. And Lavia Nielsen's been in great form recently, Jenny, so a lot of hopes back in the UK on this one. And in the Irish squad, well, great to see Tom Barr, so experienced as a 400-metre hurdler.
Yeah, fourth in Rio, devastating to be in that fourth position, but, you know, unquestionably it was the performance of his career. I don't actually think he was too disappointed, although he was just 500ths away from that bronze medal. But again, you know, on paper, this is a very strong Irish quartet. So I'm sure a lot of them will have seen the screen, seen the sort of times it takes to, you know, get those non-fastest times into that final. So I'm sure a lot of them will be thinking, oh my goodness, 3:17 it's going to take if you're not actually in the first two to try and get to that final on a time. So yeah, there's only one way to do it, and it's eyeballs out, as they say. Just don't leave anything on the track. As we can just see there, Alison Dos Santos is just trying to get himself in the right frame of mind. World finalist over 400-meter hurdles. Still a teenager indeed when he did that. 48.15 his personal best for the 400-meter hurdles. So I'm sure he's going to show quite a lot on that last leg here.
Nervous moments these for the athletes waiting to take over. All these teams going for the man, woman, woman, man format. And Germany, well, they will be in lane 6. Henrik Krause, their lead-off athlete, will hand over to Luna Thiel, and then Hannah Mergenthaler on the third leg will hand over to Johannes Treffs on the anchor leg for them. I can tell you that Japan have definitely not made the final. They are the third quickest of the non-automatic qualifiers, and yet they are faster than Spain, who have made it. And you can argue that there are draws for these races, seeding, and of course to some degree a tactical element in the racing, but that is tough for Japan. The two teams in the non-automatic qualifier spots at the moment are Colombia and Poland. They were third and fourth in that second heat. That is the caliber of that second heat where Italy set that superb season's best, 3:16.52. So the target time for the third team in this one is 3:17.92, and that is Poland, the host nation. So the third and final heat of the mixed 4x400 meters relay. Great Britain on the outside, Rabah Youssef on the outside. Real character, Rabah. Loves to don that British vest. Lavia Nielsen will be on the second leg. Dominican Republic with young Carlos Martinez on the opening leg. He'll hand over to Annabel Medina Ventura, Marilady Paulino, Alexander Ogando. Germany, as I said, Krause will hand over to Luna Thiel, Hannah Mergenthaler, Johannes Treffs. And then the Irish with that strong shot. Chris O'Donnell on the opening leg, Phil Healy on leg 2, Charlene Maudsley on leg 3, and Thomas Barr, 400-meter hurdler. Surely a reliable carrier of the baton on the anchor leg. Botswana, Mzibane Ngozo, Mogetnane, Orabile Morogane, Christina Podlogetswe, and Bayapo Ndori on the final leg for them. Brazil, Anderson Freitas Enriquez will hand over Titlani Silva Marinho, Gaisa Aparecida Coutinho, and Alison Dos Santos. And then Belarus, Alexander Vasilevsky on the opening leg for them. I'll hand over to Alexander Kilmanovic, Astera Limay, and Ihar Zubko. Several of these teams are, looking at their national records, are well capable of getting inside the time of the second non-automatic qualifying squad. Well, not much break in the echelon at the moment. Rabah Youssef of Great Britain on the outside has to gauge this effort neatly himself. Being chased there by Dominican Republic's young Carlos Martinez. And the powerfully built Vasilevsky of Belarus on the opening leg for them has got a bit of work to do at the moment in lane 2, top of picture. Rabah Youssef still moving well down the home straight, grimacing now. So important these last 50 or 60 meters. Keep that stride length going. Lavia Nielsen takes the baton. Maybe not in the lead. Good run there for Brazil. I think they're in the lead. Anderson Freitas Enriquez ran superbly. He hands over to Marinho.
Yeah, it was very tight, wasn't it, on the change, and Brazil did just maybe have the lead fractionally, but here we go. Ireland, I did think they had a good squad when I looked at the individual athletes. This is Phil Healy. She's had another great season indoors. Great over 200 metres, fantastic over that 400 metres as well. And she's just got Lavia Nelson there from Great Britain right on her shoulder as they enter that last 100 metres.
So it's Ireland, Great Britain and Brazil, 1, 2, 3 at the moment. What a run this is from Phil Healy. Boy, oh boy, she's easing away from the other pair, although the Brazilian coming battered. And now Marinho has run his fantastic final 100 there to hand over in the lead. Ireland in second, Great Britain in third. On this third leg for Great Britain is Emily Diamond. But Brazil, with this third leg athlete, Gaisa Aparecido Coutinho, don't have a big lead. Ireland chasing hard. Charlene Maudsley on this third leg for them. And now beginning to make their presence felt, the Dominican Republic with Marilady Paulino looking strong.
Yeah, Paulino, she's a national record holder both at 200 and 400, and isn't she showing it? She's got a personal best for the 400 metres of 50.31 seconds, and that's real world-class showing. But I've got to say, the Irish athletes, Maudsley has done very, very well to still be really on her shoulder, which is 50 metres to go. And in fact, she's actually taking the lead as she hands over to Thomas Barr in the lead for Ireland.
Brilliant from Maudsley. Barr then takes over in the lead. Great Britain are back in fourth place at the moment, but this is the tightest yet. Brazil on the shoulder of Ireland. Dominican Republic in third. Great Britain in fourth. For Great Britain here, Lee Thompson sizing up the opposition. Barr with outside him the Brazilian Alisson dos Santos. He's kept him at bay at the moment. There's a real knack to keeping your effort for the home straight in these relays, but going fast and not enough to not give the others any real hope. As Barr kicks into the straight, Dos Santos for Brazil now lengthens his stride. Thompson for Great Britain trying to get through, and on the inside, Dominican Republic coming through. Sue Ogando. It's Brazil, Dominican Republic, Ireland and Great Britain in third and fourth. The winning time, 3:16.49. That is quick. It's quicker than Italy. It's the fastest time in the world this year. Wow, such a competitive third and final heat. Absolutely brilliant racing from every one of that quartet down the home straight.
Well, that's what we want to see, isn't it? We want to look at these times. Look at Ireland. They've actually run one of the quickest times here this evening, and they will take a place in tomorrow night's final.
Well, that time from Brazil has been adjusted quite substantially. 3:16.49 came up, which would have made them quicker than Italy. But it's been slowed by 4/100ths of a second, can you believe? And that means that Italy are still the fastest of all of them. Brazil, the second fastest. Dominican Republic, the third fastest. Ireland and Belgium. Ireland, the fourth fastest of all of them with that third place. Great Britain, the sixth fastest with that fourth place. Those heats got quicker and quicker from heat 1 to heat 2, and then from heat 2 to heat 3.
They were brutal, weren't they? And I'm just trying to work out the finalists, and I think Ireland will qualify on a time, and I think Belgium.
Yeah, Belgium have got through because they qualified by right anyway. The teams that are qualified by right are Italy, Brazil and Dominican Republic, Belgium, Netherlands and Spain. But listen to this, Netherlands were 9th fastest, Spain were 11th fastest, and pity, the teams who have got through as the non-automatic qualifiers are Ireland and Great Britain. But Colombia and Poland, much quicker than two of the automatic qualifiers, but don't go through. There's that final changeover. What a leg it was from the Brazilian Dos Santos.
That final leg was scintillating, wasn't it? We saw Dos Santos actually, you know, visualising before he even took to the track. Thomas Barr ran very, very well. He held everybody off, ran a really well-judged first 200 metres, and he did well to actually hold Lee Thompson from Great Britain and Northern Ireland off as well. But Barr's efforts are definitely worth it because they've made that place into the final.
Well, the seeding could be called something that was leaving a bit to be desired, but I'm sure it looked all right on paper before those 3 heats. Great Britain 4th in their heat, but the 6th fastest of all the teams. The Irish know they've qualified. They were the 4th fastest of the day, and yet not even an automatic qualifier, can you believe? 3:16.84. Personal best for the Irish. That effectively, I suppose, means it's a national record. The Dominican Republic likewise in 3rd place. They qualified by right, though. But that was a very, very strange series of races, Jenny, and all the more exciting for it.
It was. Each one got better, didn't they? And you know what? I'm going to call it. I think that could be the race of the weekend come that final tomorrow evening.
Yes.
It's very close.
Well, isn't it funny that, you know, we had athletes in the 2x2 by 400 metres earlier who ran tactically, and it was 4 laps of the track, but didn't really get your hackles up, and you know, there was so much being held back, and yet in this, wow, every athlete was giving them 101%, and the times and the way that it's panned out when you look at the summary is spectacular. And you have to say, you feel sorry for Japan, who ran 10th fastest but didn't make the final, even though they're quicker than one of the non-automatic qualifiers. Well, we're going to show you the results of Heat 2 from that mixed 4x400 metres relay. It was the one where Italy... In fact, we're going to show you Heat 1, Heat 2, Heat 3. How about that in chronological order? Just to wrap up those 3 mixed 4x400 metre relay heats. Netherlands 3:18.04, setting a personal best. Spain a national record 3:18.98. Not quite sure what a personal best is if it's not a national record and it's not a season's best. But anyway, we'll clear that one up before tomorrow. So Netherlands and Spain did make it through okay from that first heat. From the second heat, the qualifiers were Italy and Belgium by right, but Colombia not making it through. Colombia were the 7th fastest, but still didn't make the final. And Heat 3, there it is. Brazil, Dominican Republic, Ireland, Great Britain. Well, those times would have graced a final pretty well, frankly. Brazil and Dominican Republic by right. Ireland and Great Britain are the 2 non-automatic qualifiers. Well, one final to come, but there are the qualifiers for that mixed 4x400 metres relay final tomorrow evening. And what a beauty that promises to be. Italy, Brazil, Dominican Republic, Ireland, Belgium, Great Britain, Netherlands and Spain. Just 2 nations outside of Europe making that mixed 4x400 metres relay. And Italy and Brazil pretty much inseparable. Not a great deal between Dominican Republic and Ireland. It will be special. I wonder if there'll be many swaps of squads. Sometimes feel, don't you, Jenny, with relays, that athletes who qualify from the heat deserve to be able to go through and represent the team in the final. But of course, team tactics sometimes mean replacements are shifted in.
Yeah, and it depends, obviously, which events other athletes have been doing during this weekend. There's been times when I've run in the final and it's been amazing, and times when I've just been used in a heat. And of course, athletes who can run a little bit quicker have been put in for that final. But I think the main thing is everyone feels part of it this weekend. And yeah, what a show we just saw.
well, the mixed shuttle hurdles relay. It's a commonly held event in North America, in the USA. I've commentated on this many times, but at a global level, it's relatively new. It was introduced 2 years ago in Yokohama when there were only 2 teams. Germany are one of only 3 today. Poland are in the trio of squads fighting out for victory. That hasn't been rehearsed or anything.
I did get worried. I was thinking, why is there only 3 competitors?
They're determined to enjoy themselves. It's fabulous stuff. A hurdles relay. Don't think I've ever seen it staged in the UK, have you?
I haven't.
There's an opportunity for somebody to set a precedent. And Kenya, of all nations, not renowned for their sprint hurdling, but they are putting out a squad here. Priscilla Tabunda, Mikhail Mojoki, Nzuku, Nusra Rukia, and Wiseman Were Mukobe. All squads going for woman, man, woman, man. That is the way it is, the rules dictate. 2 years ago in Yokohama, USA won from Japan. There were only 2 teams in the final, can you believe? Indeed, today there's prize money for 4 squads, but only 3 teams making it here. And of course, there is, it's apt to remind you that the pandemic has reduced attendance to some degree in disciplines here and there at these relays. These are 5th World Relays. But for that, there would be a much bigger turnout. And many federations being very, very sensitive and cautious, knowing that their athletes have to prepare with minimized risk of catching COVID. That means reducing travel where possible, and indeed mixing on all circumstances, be it airports, planes, hotels, and so on. Germany, Poland and Kenya then. So we are guaranteed a new winner. You'll notice I'm trying to avoid saying champions because there are no medals at these world relays. There are no champions. There are winners. And it is an exercise in relay running that enables a lot of athletes to pick up enormous experience if they're youngsters, and enables well-experienced athletes to polish their baton handling skills. So let's explain to you how it works. The athletes, obviously 4 per team, just use the home straight. The women start on the finish line in effect and run down towards the 100 meters finish towards the men, and the women have to run their 100-meter hurdles as per normal, and then an extra 10 meters to get to the men's start line, because of course the high hurdle discipline for men is 110-meter hurdles. The men then run left to right towards the finish line, and as they pass a cone, so the lead off the next athlete to go out has to judge their start, and they can be disqualified. There are officials at each start line. So they have to be very cautious. They don't go off early, but as they reach a cone, then the next athlete can head off and run their leg. The 3rd athlete, of course, is a woman, and then the final leg athlete running from left to right in the normal direction down the home straight is a man. Are you with me?
I follow
we'll be testing you later,
Tim.
Jenny.
Yes, I follow you. This is the only event, of course, where we don't use a baton.
There is no handover. The athletes are in the blocks and they start on his or her own judgments once the incoming athlete crosses the line.
Fascinating watching this event 2 years ago. It was the first time I'd ever actually seen it, and one of the biggest challenges, I think, is for the 3rd and 4th athletes to actually change the blocks. So of course the first female and the first male have got their blocks set up, but then the second female, second male have got to, you know, get their own measurements, change the blocks in less than 30 seconds and get going over the hurdles. So definitely no room for nerves or you know, any sort of premonitions on things like this.
Monika Zapalska, we saw just then, the leader athlete for Germany. That is Susanna Hollis, and Kenya's Priscilla Tabunda is their lead-off athlete. But of course this is a Very technically demanding discipline, the sprint hurdles. And what is it? Rock, paper, scissors?
I'm sure they'd sorted that out before then. I hope they had anyway.
I'm not sure, but anyway. The all-time list is topped by the USA with 54.96. And that was US Quartet back in 2019. Germany, Poland, Kenya then. Good start there from Monika Zapalska of Germany at the top. She's going well at the moment, leading from Hulisz of Poland. Kenya's Tobunda with a bit of work to do at the moment as they come through to the first change, so to speak. And it is Germany who get away in the lead, as you would expect. This is Erik Balnuvait looking really strong at the moment. Balnuvait leading from Krzysztof Kilian of Poland, who is closing a little bit. Kenya still with some work to do through Nzuku. Now back to the ladies once again. Anna Weigold for Germany in the lead, left of picture. Poland trying desperately to get back to them with Klaudia Wojcicki. And she does close the gap a little bit. There's a lot resting on this final leg as Rukia for Kenya closes in that third leg. And now Germany. And it is still Gregor Traber. He's a useful performer. I don't think he's going to be caught here. Damian Zikia is very, very fast indeed. Stumbles at the last barrier. He was closing, in fact. I'm not sure he'd have got there anyway. Kenya bringing up the rear behind Germany and Poland. Mukobe of Kenya running a strong leg there. So make sure that Kenya were not out of sight in third place.
It was exciting, wasn't it? And I'm just looking at the Polish athlete, Damian Zikia. He enjoyed that.
Well, he did, but Zapalska, all credit to her on the far side there, because she ran a superb first leg, and her start was pretty much what wrapped it up for the German. She was very, very quick. Her opponent, Hulisz of Poland, was never able to get back on terms. Steal a metre at the start like that, and if you're of equal ability through the rest of the race, well, you'll finish a metre ahead. And Germany never had a big lead. They could never relax.
No, it went all the way to the line, didn't it? And such an interesting dynamic. Again, I don't think hurdlers would ever expect to be in a hurdles relay with, you know, a mixed hurdles relay, especially in Europe, as we've said. So I think a lot of these nations are getting used to this event and definitely embracing it. And one of the things I noticed is there wasn't too many hurdles clattered, was there? I think it's quite unusual, obviously, to have a female hurdle and a male hurdle right next to each other. And it must affect your sight line, surely. I mean, even in training, you probably would never have two different heights of hurdles lined up next to each other.
No, absolutely, absolutely. And we were talking earlier, weren't we, at lunch, about whether it's off-putting for the ladies to be hurdling over a barrier that's several inches higher.
Well, it didn't seem to affect any of the teams. You can see them all there with the national flags, getting some good early season preparation done. And yeah, flags all round.
Poland taking second place, Kenya third, and earning some prize money on the back of that, and rightly so. And that does conclude the racing on the track on this first of 2 days at these 5th World Relays. What an evening it's been. Vicious competition as athletes were and teams were vying for places in tomorrow's finals, and not forgetting that tomorrow evening the actual action begins at 7:20 local time. That's Central European time, 6:20 in the UK, and you can make your adjustments wherever you're listening, I hope, on the back of that. But it is finals all the way tomorrow over 4x100, 4x400, 4x200. Mixed races have been through today, and Kenya enjoying themselves. It's been a long, long few days for many of these athletes who have travelled from afar. I was reading that the South African athletes, for example, travelled for nearly 30 hours to get here. A journey that should have taken no more than, what, normally about 10 hours, something like that?
That's commitment, isn't it?
There's the athletes heading out in that first leg. You can see Zapalska left of picture, hurdling marginally ahead of Zuzana Hulish. Hulish hitting that barrier. That would have been costly. In fact, it was pretty tight at the line, but Germany got away the quicker through their second leg runner, Erik Balnuveit. He's experienced, Balnuveit. Tall too. Just makes an adjustment to the stride in effect to take in those barriers. Lovely side-on shot that. Look at that, graceful. Oh, his coach will want to keep that and have a very, very thorough review of it, I'm sure.
And that's interesting that we just get the visual of the crash mats at the end, of course. There's not enough run-offs for those athletes, so not only have they got to power their way down 10 hurdles, but they've also got to meet a crash mat at the end.
Gregor Traber, this is running to victory for the Germans, just skimming that ninth barrier, clattering that final barrier, but dipping impressively enough at the line to take the win. And the time 56.53 from Germany to Poland's 56.68. And Kenya's 59.89. And that time from Germany to win is the 5th fastest time in history. It isn't often run, this discipline. We have to acknowledge that. But it's building, and it's great fun. The athletes love it. And I think in a packed stadium, the crowds would be roaring those athletes on and really enjoying it. Backwards and forwards, to and fro on the home straight. I can see that going down well in the UK, can't you?
So much action in under a minute. Yeah, it was great. Oh, and some emotion there. That's what we like to see. This is what we've come for. Shows what it means to a lot of these athletes, just getting that opportunity to compete and to put on the national vest. It's been so long for many of them, and the first time, of course, we have to acknowledge that a lot of people will be making their debuts at these championships.
Erik Balnuveit there, the second leg runner for Germany. That shuttle hurdle relay, overcome with emotion. Germany the winners then, 56.53, their time ahead of Poland, 56.68. Not a lot in it. Kenya taking third place, bringing up the rear in that mixed shuttle hurdles relay. No medal table, of course, to conclude proceedings at this the end of this first day of 2 here in the Silesia Stadium. This is not a championships. Medals are not awarded. It is racing, pure and simple. Well, this is heat 2 of the women's 4x400 meters relay.
French athletes really holding on and won't wait to be able to hand that baton over.
Well, Cuba there, beating the Netherlands in that heat of the 4x400 meters relay. That was one of the big turn-ups of the day, Jenny.
Yeah, it was. We didn't expect that. Looking forward to seeing what the Cuban team can bring tomorrow.
On the men's 4x400 meters relay, as ever, producing special running. The Netherlands were the fastest, with 3:03.03 from Japan and South Africa. Brazil disqualified, unfortunately, in the women's 4x100 meters first heat. They can see that foot treading on the line there of that runner to the left of picture. Several strides, in fact, right along that line. And the Netherlands qualifying very comfortably in the women's 4x100 meters, winning in 43.28. ahead of France and Poland. Brazil and Italy getting very close times going through in the men's 4x100 meters relay. 38.45 for Italy. Brazil 38.45, 8 1/1000ths of a second slower. In fact, 7 1/1000ths of a second slower. And good times all the way through, including Denmark qualifying with a national record. Poland winning the first final of the evening. That was the 2 times 2x400 meters, and Poland's Joanna Jozwik and Dobek coming through to take the win ahead of Kenya and Slovenia taking third place. And Italy settling a world lead time in the mixed 4x400 meters of 3:16.52. It was 1/100th quicker than Brazil, who were to win heat 3. Well, the last final of the night, and for many people the most exciting perhaps, is the almost chaotic, frantic racing of the mixed shuttle hurdle relay. Germany winning that one from Poland and Kenya. Germany's time, one of the fastest in history. So let's have a look at some of the qualifying squads for tomorrow's finals. And remember, it is finals all the way. The women's 4x400 meters, Cuba, Poland, Belgium, the Netherlands, Great Britain, Germany, Italy, and France. It has a familiar ring to it, that one, but the Cubans will be a real danger. Indeed, they were the quickest of all of them. Take a look at the men's qualifiers in the long relay. They're 4x400 meters. Well, the Netherlands comfortably the fastest, 3:03.03. Japan outperforming themselves, looking very strong indeed. South Africa and Belgium comfortably qualifying. Botswana, Colombia, France and Italy, with Great Britain the surprise non-qualifiers in that one after dropping the baton in their heat. In the women's 4x100 meters relay, yet again the Netherlands performing supremely. A couple of meters quicker than France. Poland, Switzerland, Ecuador, Italy, Japan and Denmark making it through as well. How delighted were they with that non-automatic qualifier spot to make it through to Sunday's final. Ecuador too setting a national record. And the men's 4x100 meters relay, Italy were the fastest, 38.45 from Brazil. It came down to 1,000th of a second. South Africa impressive too, just a few hundreds slower. Germany, Netherlands, Ghana, Japan and Denmark all qualifying. It's going to be very, very tight, that final. Not a great deal between those 8 teams. And the mixed 4x400 meters relay, which I think is a fabulous addition to the portfolio of athletic disciplines. Italy the fastest by 1/100th of a second from Brazil. The Dominican Republic and Ireland qualifying impressively. Belgium and Great Britain, along with the Netherlands and Spain, will be in action once again on Sunday, where I'm sure we'll see quite a few tired legs after the exploits of this first day. Some athletes with 2 races under their belts already. And let's have a look at the timetable for day 2 here in Katowice, in the capital of Silesia. There it is at 7:20 local time, 6:20 in the UK. The men's mixed 4x400 meters relay, but it's finals all the way, as you can see, concluding with the long relays, the traditional conclusion, the women's 4x400 meters and the men's 4x400 meters. It's been a great first day here, a wonderful evening in the Silesia Stadium. The production team and all the officials have done a wonderful job. Do hope you've enjoyed it too. And remember, tomorrow, finals all the way. Jenny, the highlight for you?
Might be a strange one, but it was the women's 4x1, Ecuador, 5th place, qualifying for the final. They came into it ranked 40th. Amazing results.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. One of my big questions, and I'd like to talk to people about it, is why in the the 2x400, there wasn't more aggressive running going on. It became a tactical affair, which you don't often see over 400-meter running. But we'll perhaps find out overnight and give you the reasoning tomorrow. But from all of us here in the Silesia Stadium, until day 2, tomorrow's Sunday, it's a very, very warm goodbye in a cold evening from Jenny Meadows, myself, Tim Hutchings, and everybody else. Bye-bye for now. We'll see you tomorrow. Do join us. Remember, finals from start to finish on Sunday.
Blade, I'm a knockout